96.1 HD2, 98.1 W251 ALFM, Fort Myers, CSPN, Southwest Florida, a Beasley Media Group station.
About a minute.
Are you playing that in the studio?
Yes, can you hear it?
Yeah, okay, yeah, because which is fine, but just, remember your mic's on, and if you're playing that stuff, it's going over. So, like, during the 4 or 5 minutes of the local commercials, don't play them.
Got it.
Morning, everybody. Right, like we can hear that, which is okay, but I'm just letting you know. Well, guys, we can see each other, so I'm assuming we have video.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the floor.
Yeah, I'm not hearing that, by the way, Raj.
And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And on this final Tuesday of 2025, hope your week got off to a good start. Thanks for being with us. I just got something to get out of the way. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark is off today. This is our final live show of 2025. Best of the next couple days, and then we're back at it. Miller and Moulton together for our first live show of 2026 on a Football Friday. Roger is joining us in studio. All right. He's
Hi, David. I'm sorry. I know you kind of wasted it. I had a wrong button pressed and we missed your how the heck are you? And I know people don't want to miss that. Can you redo that for me?
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Thankfully the voice is in pretty good shape these days. How the heck are you?
That was a good one. Thank you.
Oh, well, thanks. I don't know if my hotel guests next door are appreciative of that, but I'll know soon enough if they're banging angrily on the door. I'm in Atlanta, in which it was not a good night for the Tampa Bay Bucs. They needed the 7-point favorite LA Rams to beat the Falcons to make sure that Saturday's late afternoon tilt between them and Carolina was a winner-take-all. Now it's still very much in play that the Bucs can beat the Panthers on Saturday. But if the Falcons beat the Saints on Sunday, that would force a 3-way tie for the division title, and Carolina wins the 3-way tiebreaker. Tampa would win the 2-way tiebreaker, but Carolina would win the 3-way tiebreaker. Now, if Tampa wins on Sunday, it means the division champ for the second time in 4 years is below 500. Do we have to start recognizing that the NFC South is the worst division in the NFL? I mean, if Tampa wins, second time in 4 years that the division champ is 8-9, at no point in the last 4 years would the division champ have won more than 10 games? That certainly looks like the weakest link, if you will, in the 8-division lineup. But first things first. What a night for Bijan Robinson and the Atlanta Falcons. First off, I love the old unis. I'm an old guy. What can I tell you? Love the old unis. It's how I remember the Falcons from way back in the day. Love the red helmets. Don't know why they went all black 8-10 years ago. I mean, Jerry Glanville was the first one to do it in the early 90s, but, that was his thing. But I have no idea why over the years Atlanta kept taking red out of their uniform and out of their helmet. I hated it. I loved how they looked last night. And when they were out to a 21-0, 24-3 lead mid-third quarter, they were looking great. And then, as is the case in the NFL, well, no game is safe. Certainly no lead is safe. And it went down to the final seconds. Atlanta. By the way, did you stick with the game to the end? How about that graphic late in the game when the Rams tied it at 24 and we had to put on the screen, this is the first time the Falcons have blown a 21-point lead since, the Super Bowl 28-3 against the Patriots. Oofta. My phone blew up from Falcons fans. Like, seriously? Seriously? I don't know what to tell you. It's an interesting factoid. It's relevant. Come on now. Don't blame us. This is your doing. But Atlanta with the win, which could prove costly for Tampa Bay. It also could prove costly for the Rams, could drop them to the 6th seed. That's real easy, by the way. If Seattle beats San Francisco and the Rams win at home against Arizona, and I believe the Cardinals have lost 13 of 14. So if Seattle and the Rams win this coming weekend, then the Rams will be the 5. Seattle will be the 1. San Francisco will be the 6. If San Francisco wins Saturday night, then San Francisco's the 1 and Seattle's the 5, no matter what the Rams do on Sunday against Arizona. And then they would drop to the 6. How significant is it? Well, would you rather go visit the NFC South champion in the first round in a 4-5 game? Or would you rather be the 6th seed and right now you're scheduled to play the Eagles in Philly? Now, for what it's worth, the Rams have already lost at Carolina and at Philadelphia. And with all the injuries that they have, particularly along the offensive line, and without Devontae Adams, there's not a lot of weaponry on the field for Los Angeles. It's early. But Atlanta, 3rd straight win after starting the season 4-9. What do you do, by the way, if you were running the Falcons? Do you keep everyone? Especially if they go and beat the Saints and finish with a 4-game winning streak. Do you just chalk it up to, we figured it out, but we figured it out a little too late? We've got the best roster in the division. We're still, in our estimation, the best team in this division. We just have to prove it from day one. Or are you blowing out Raheem Morris and his staff and maybe even some of the front office? Like if you're Matt Ryan, who reportedly is about to join the Falcons front office in a significant role. I mean, what do you do if they end the season with a 4-game winning streak? They're a relatively young team. I will chime in on one thing. I think they're nuts if they get rid of Kirk Cousins. Nuts. Not that Kirk Cousins is the greatest quarterback. He's not. Kirk is what he is. He's solid. He's largely dependable. If you pressure him, he's immobile. He doesn't take sacks, so he'll throw the occasional interception. You'll go, what in the world is he doing throwing that ball? Well, he was trying not to take a sack. Yeah, but he should have instead of throwing the pick. Yeah, no doubt. But it's funny with Kirk Cousins, look at how productive Kyle Pitts has become. With Kirk Cousins, they've played their best ball of the year. There's no guarantee Michael Penix is healthy for week 1. And have you seen Penix's injury history? This is the 4th time in 7 years he's been unable to finish a season because of injuries. He's torn 3 ACLs. I mean, half of Cousins' contract will have already been paid out. There's only $20 million left guaranteed on his contract. Why would you get rid of him? And you could talk about cap hits and what have you. Can you really hurt yourself at the quarterback position? Can you really get rid of the guy who leads you potentially to the 4-game winning streak? And by the way, when healthy, what happened to him last year? They were 6-3 last year when he got hurt. Now, he tried to play through it. They didn't take him off the field. They had a big slump, and by the time they put Penix in, it was a little too late. But they were 6-3 last year when he was healthy, and they've rattled off 3 wins this year with him healthy. Are you sure in that division you just want to discard Kirk Cousins? I mean, can we rattle off the teams that he would walk in the door today and be better than what they have? I mean, it's at least a half dozen teams. At least. I mean, come on. I mean, if he showed up in Arizona, he wouldn't be the starter. If he showed up with the Jets, if he showed up with the Dolphins. Now, I'm not, I know you probably want to play Quinn Ewers. I get all that. I'm just talking about who's better. If he walked into Cleveland, he wouldn't be better than Shedeur Sanders? Of course he's better. He's wouldn't be better than Geno Smith. Have you seen the year that Geno Smith had this year? What are the Colts going to do at quarterback next year if they can't sign Daniel Jones? I mean, if I'm Atlanta, I am not just discarding him. That's an asset in a league with not enough competent quarterbacks. That's me. But a nice win for Atlanta, that's a tough one if you're a Bucs fan. And I know there are some Bucs fans that are like, you know what? We deserve this. And I will say it would be very NFC South with how that division's been the last few years. It would be very NFC South for Tampa to beat Carolina, only to have Atlanta beat New Orleans and have there be a 3-way tie at 8-9. That's very NFC South. Remember the Big 12 like 15 years ago? They had the North and the South. Oklahoma, Texas, Mike Leach with Texas Tech. They were all in the South. The South was really good. And remember the Big 12 North? I mean, you'd be lucky if you could get like an Iowa State or a Kansas State to go 7-5 and represent the Big 12 title game. That's kind of what the NFC South's looking like these days. Miller and Moulton. As we mentioned, Mark is off. Roger is in the studios. He sounds like he's asleep. That's how he sounds all the time. All right? It's a grovelly voice. All right? He's a little deliberate. Okay? So, there's nothing at work here except it's Raj. All right. We'll be here for 4 hours on the final live show of 2025. We have a hell of a guest list. We'll tell you all about it on the other side. Top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all of your coating needs. It has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies. Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Four-Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Four-Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Four-Meisters in Naples. Fourmeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Four-Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332516.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business.
Hey, Bob.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, he's not. He didn't hear the intro. He didn't hear.
Save $10,000 off the MSRP on new Silverado 1500. Yes, Marty.
Yeah. Program and audition on the FSN computer. I don't know. I do not know. I'll ask him. I'll ask him when I get. Oh, okay. So he needs to be in mono to hear. Okay. Program and audition to hear the network. Okay. Hold on here. Well, I guess I'll try it next break because we're already in the Beasley spots. So I'll give that a shot next time. Maybe I should just hit. Well, I can't hit program now, but I guess I'll just turn them down then. Yeah, because when I'm supposed to take them out of program when the network spots are running out. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, he's off screen right now. Yeah. But when the intro hit, he said I couldn't hear it. When I started the spots, he said he couldn't hear it. So, oh yeah. Okay, well, I'm hearing them fine. Yeah. What's that? Yeah, they're going over the air, and I'm hearing them. And yeah. Okay. All right. Just thought I didn't. Okay. Thanks, bud. Let's see.
A quick repair will get your garage door back in shape, no matter how much you eat. No crazy diets, just a smooth, quiet door going up and down like it should. And after all of your friends have bailed on their gym memberships, you'll have a garage door that works like a charm for several New Years to come. How do I know? Because I'm Mo. Call Mo Better Garage, and I'll throw in my copy of War and Peace. I mean, who am I kidding? Mo Better Garage, we make it way more better. MoBetterGarage.com.
During the wrap up the year sales event at King Court.
David, I'm not. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm not sure why you're not hearing the network because I have the right button.
Which I'm fine with. Okay, which I'm fine with because I'm hearing everything in your studio.
Yeah.
Like also, we heard that whole conversation that you had with Mark, which I don't think we're supposed to hear. So there's two things. First off, just A, as long as it's not going over the air, which I don't think it did because somebody would have pointed that out to us. But B, you must have hit something in the last 60 seconds, which changed it because we were hearing all the Beasley commercials and we're not supposed to. Like right now, it's silent, and that's how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Now, we're coming up on a rejoiner, correct?
Yeah.
We come back at 21.
So I'll fire the rejoiner. We're about a little over 30 seconds out from that.
Okay.
Ready to conquer Monday? Let's do this Monday. Sequel Pure Seeds. Just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. Check us out online for the stories, pics, videos, podcasts, and more you want. No, it's more than you want. It's
Yeah, like we hear that, which is okay, but normally we don't.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. Now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks for being with us. Final live show of 2025. It's funny, personally and professionally for me, with some of the other stuff that I do, it has seemed like a very long year. This football season for me was hard. I'm headed to El Paso after the show for the Sun Bowl. Last game with Gary Danielson, a 20-year run for Gary at CBS comes to an end. His 36-year network broadcasting career comes to an end tomorrow, dinner time, when we put the Sun Bowl to bed. He's broadcast more Army-Navy games than anyone ever. He's broadcast more SEC championship games than anyone ever. He's broadcast more Sun Bowls than anyone ever. He broadcast about a half dozen national championship games. Now, I know he's made many appearances on Miller and Moulton, and some of you may already know this, but did you hear Gary tell the story of how he got his start? So he had an audition, and he had to drive, I think, from Michigan to Connecticut for the audition. And he found out the past game that they were going to play, essentially, without the announcer's sound. But they were going to play the game, and he was going to be in a studio with a play-by-play guy, and they were going to do the game cold. All they were going to have was rosters in front of them and just do the game. And I will say, Gary always told me that if he was a network consultant, that is exactly how he would hire announcers. He would basically just, instead of overwhelming them with information, he would be like, here's the basics, sit down, do the game. Just let me listen to how you sound. So Gary, however, somehow, some way, got tipped off as to what the game was going to be. So the night before, he does all this research on the game. So, as he said, he goes, I could predict a few plays. I knew coaching decisions. I knew what was going to happen. I didn't have it memorized, but I had an idea. I certainly had the key moments. And so he said, so I had a pretty good audition. He goes, they hired me on the spot. They put me on like they're one of their top 3 crews. He goes, I had never done a game before. But he nailed the audition, and 36 years later, all right, his network broadcasting career will come to an end. But it's been a hard travel year. I will have had, after this coming weekend, 10 games in the Pacific time zone and 2 in the Mountain time zone. When this year started, I had no status on 2 of the 3 major airlines. And when I get back on the weekend, I will have had significant status on all 3 airlines. I mean, it's been that kind of a year. So physically, the football season anyway, was very challenging. This sports year, however, to me, flew by. Because, man, oh, man, do we have meat on the bone seemingly every day to talk about. It's remarkable. Sometimes I think we have too much meat on the bone. I wish certain sports would kind of rein it in. Don't you wish college athletics? And, Miller and Moulton are in a little bit of a tough spot here because we predicted the Wild Wild West. We said we were in favor of the Wild Wild West. We didn't anticipate they were going to let pros come back and play college ball. We didn't anticipate that so quickly we were going to have guys play 7, 8, 9 years of college ball. And the NCAA just sit back and go, oh, I don't know. I don't think we can set any rules. And, hey, can Congress give us antitrust status, please? We can't do anything until they do. I mean, wow. What a leaderless, rudderless ship. But so from a sports year standpoint, I feel as if it flew by, yet the travel kind of wore me out during football season. I hope I didn't sound it, all right, on the air. But this is our last live show for 2025, best of the next 2 days, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And then we're back with a football Friday, and our picks can't be worse, right? In 2026. I mean, can't be worse. I mean, we did finish our final pick segment of 2025 with Miller and Moulton combined going 1-9. I mean, if that doesn't sum up Miller and Moulton's picks for 2025, I don't know what does. And I was the one that managed to go over. Mark at least got the one pelt on the wall because he had a better year picking games than I did. So at least, at the end, he may have gone 1-4, but we had a very NFC South-like year with predictions on Miller and Moulton. But, all right, heading into Week 18, Denver's the one, and the Chargers have already announced they're not playing Herbert. They're resting a bunch of people. So all Denver needs is a win at home against the Chargers, and they're the 1 seed, and it looks as if LA is conceding it, which could very well make them the 7 seed. More on that in a minute. New England's got the Dolphins. Now, Miami has actually gone to Foxborough a couple of times in the last 20 years when they were not a good team and beat the Patriots in New England when it didn't count for much for Miami, but it really hurt the Patriots, including Tom Brady's final year in New England when a Ryan Fitzpatrick-led Dolphins team went in there in 2019 and beat them, final game of the regular season, which cost the Patriots the 2 seed, and at the time, the top 2 seeds got byes. New England fell to a 3. Kansas City was the 2. Kansas City ended up never having to play a road game that year in the playoffs because the top-seeded Titans got upset. Or no, top-seeded Ravens got upset by Vrabel's Titans. And as it turned out, Brady and company went out in the first round. But Denver's the 1, New England's the 2, Jacksonville's the 3. Jacksonville owns the tiebreakers over both Denver and New England. So if either falter and they take care of the Titans, they move ahead of who it is that faltered. If no one falters, Jacksonville's the 3. Obviously, Sunday night, whoever wins between Pittsburgh and Baltimore, they win the North. They're the 4. Right now, Houston's the 5. They host the Colts. a Houston win and a Jacksonville home loss to the Titans, Houston wins the South. Jacksonville becomes the 5. But right now, Houston's the 5. For the moment, the Chargers are the 6. But since they're all but conceding the regular season finale, I mean, Trey Lance to start instead of Justin Herbert. If the Chargers lose now as expected and Buffalo wins a home game against the Jets, final game at Evermark, then the Bills will be the 6 and the Chargers will be the 7. So, yeah, congratulations to the Jaguars, who may have a 13-win regular season, who may finish the season with 8 straight wins, and their reward may be Josh Allen and the Bills in a 3-6 matchup. So that's the AFC with 1 week to play. The NFC changed a little bit last night. We'll get into it. Bud Elliott in an hour. Pat Kirwan in 90 minutes. Roy Cummings in 2 hours. And Trent Balley for the final hour of Miller and Moulton.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local glass doctor home and business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Experience the Anajar Levine difference. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
Whether full-color signage, cut vinyl graphics, vehicle lettering, magnetic banners, and more, signs in one day can do it. Fully co-writing 239-267-5500. Signsinonday.com.
Raj?
In the new year.
Raj, yeah, thank you. So this way we don't hear the local spots.
I'm not sure why my mic's hot here when I don't have it on.
Yep, I don't either. But yeah, you are hot 24/7.
Great.
Now, I think you're only hot on Twitch and YouTube, but like we hear every squeak from that chair. You know, I think put your hand in a wrapper for some food, and we heard it. I mean, it's like in stereo in that studio. We're hearing every single sound, but believe it or not, since I can't hear the local commercials, so that's how I'm hearing the 4 spots that we play.
All right.
You know, so
how about now?
No, I don't hear anything now.
Oh.
I hear you. I hear you.
So, okay, so the same as you were hearing before, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't get why the mic is hot like that.
I'm fine with it. Just
I'll try not
just
to move in my chair that much.
no. I don't care about that. I just care that the 4 minutes of Beasley spots, I just don't want to hear them.
Yeah,
because then we can't talk. I can't talk to the chat room.
Yeah,
because we're fighting with commercials.
Ten four, Sonny. Thank you.
Although Michael in the chat room and Puck and everyone else, now remember, they reseed in the NFL. So let's just say Buffalo ends up the 6 and they beat Jacksonville, then Denver would play Buffalo unless the Chargers go into New England and beat the Patriots. Because Denver will face the worst seeded team left after the first round. They'll play either the 4, the 5, the 6, or 7. Whoever was the, quote, worst one to advance. Now, Pius, Raj isn't going to fall asleep. In part because I think this show was so nerve-wracking for both Raj and myself that neither one of us are going to fall asleep because I think we're going on edge every segment. I mean, I was up at 4:18 this morning, and that was after Monday Night Football, and I didn't hit the pillow till 10-1. Thank you, Stumpy. Appreciate that. We do try. We do put a lot of effort into the show, both Mark and I. It's worth it. Most days. Exactly, Paula. Plus, I can sleep on planes. So, yeah, I'll be tired, but I'll get on that plane. I'll be out. I'll be out before we take off. Once the folks in my row, because I'm always on the aisle, once my row is filled up, I'm out. I can't hear anything.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Bud Elliott in an hour. We'll preview the college football quarterfinals, which begin tomorrow night. The Cotton Bowl. Miami, a nearly 10-point underdog against Ohio State. And then the 3 quarterfinals on New Year's Day. Noon, 4, and 8 Eastern. Oregon, Texas Tech at noon in the Orange Bowl. Alabama and Indiana in the Rose Bowl. And then an SEC rematch in the Sugar, Ole Miss and Georgia. Bud Elliott to talk all about it coming up 1 hour from now. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
Look at that. Raj found the bumper, and I found the banner for the Twitch and YouTube broadcast. We are cooking with some serious heat this morning, folks. The Starting Five brought to you by Lee County. Lee County, Florida, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. All right. NFL last night. Falcons jumped out to a 21-0 halftime lead, led 24-3 mid-third quarter. And here come the Rams. Flipped the game around down 14 with a blocked field goal, returned for a touchdown. Stafford and the Rams tied it with about 3 minutes to go. Stafford had a rough day, though. He did throw 2 TDs, but he also had 3 interceptions, came into the game having only thrown 5 all year. But then Kirk Cousins and the Falcons drove 32 yards, setting up a 51-yard field goal with 21 seconds left to win it. Bijan Robinson was a star. 195 yards rushing, 229 total yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 receiving. If you had either Derrick Henry or Bijan Robinson on your fantasy team this week, you likely won your fantasy league. Falcons win their 3rd in a row, 27-24 over the Rams. Could drop the Rams from the 5 seed to the 6 seed, depending on the results this coming weekend. Falcons also could determine who wins the NFC South. If Atlanta beats the Saints Sunday, the Panthers are the NFC South champions, no matter if they lose to Tampa Saturday. The Bucs need to beat the Panthers and have the Saints, who have won 4 in a row, beat the Falcons, who have won 3 in a row, to end the season. Other NFL news, as we mentioned last segment, Chargers have decided to rest Justin Herbert in the season finale. Remember, the Chiefs did that last year in Denver when they were 15-1. They threw Carson Wentz out there. They got destroyed. Denver said, thank you very much. We're going to the playoffs. Well, Herbert and the Chargers are going to send Trey Lance out on the field. Likely means Denver will win, clinch the 1 seed, and get the bye. Lamar Jackson's status is, quote, still to be determined, unquote, Sunday night at Pittsburgh. Jackson has battled injuries all year, as we know. He missed the Saturday night Ravens win in Green Bay when Derrick Henry ran for 200+ and 4 touchdowns. 67-year-old Andy Reid reiterated it's his plan to coach next season in Kansas City. Anybody think they're going to fire him? Yeah, I didn't think so. Chiefs, for what it's worth, end the year in Vegas. Vegas needs a loss to clinch the number 1 overall pick. Reid has 3 years left on a contract that pays him $20 million a year. He's wrapping up his 13th year in Kansas City. That's after he did 14 years in Philadelphia. One of the greatest coaching careers in NFL history will continue for at least another year, and that's Andy Reid. College football, no bowl games last night. 3 of them today and tonight. Independence Bowl at 2 o'clock Eastern, Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Tech. 5:30 Eastern, Music City Bowl, it's a good one, Tennessee, Illinois. And the Alamo Bowl, 9 p.m. tonight Eastern, USC and TCU. Speaking of USC, their head coach Lincoln Riley at the presser yesterday said, quote, if Notre Dame had lived up to their word, they'd play us anywhere, anytime. We'd be playing the next 2 years, unquote. Speaking of Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman said no to the NFL yesterday. I'm staying with the Fighting Irish. 11 games in the NBA. The headliner in Miami. The Heat pounded the Nuggets 147-123, but the big story, the big fella, Jokic got hurt late first half, left knee injury, limped off the court, not to return. Please, let's hope he's okay. Please. Too great a player to miss significant time for us as fans. Come on now. Let's hope the big fella's all right. Heat get the win. Magic blow a 21-point lead, losing Toronto 107-106 to the Raptors. Knicks with a late rally in New Orleans, and despite Zion's 32, New York beat the Pelicans 130-125. Steph with 27, Jimmy Buckets with 21. Golden State won in Brooklyn 120-107. Hawks have lost 7 in a row. SGA with 39. OKC beat Atlanta 140-129. 7 in double figures for the Cavs. They went to San Antonio, beat Wemby and the Spurs 113-101. Wembayana was the best player on the floor, however, 27 points, 14 rebounds. Milwaukee won back-to-back games for the first time in 2 months. They went to Charlotte, beat the Hornets 123-113. Phoenix has won 4 in a row. They beat Utah 115-101. Excuse me, I think they beat Washington. That's how bad my handwriting is. Think about that. When you think an S is a T, that's some bad handwriting right there. Naz Reid with 33 off the bench. T-Wolves beat the Bulls in Chicago by 35. Ouch. KD with 30. Rockets beat the Pacers 126-119. Portland edged Dallas 125-122. Also 11 games in the NHL last night. Panthers with 3 in the third. Sam Reinhart with a pair. Florida beat Washington 5-3. The Colorado Avalanche have played 38 games this year. They're almost midway through their schedule. They've lost 2 games in regulation. That's unbelievable. They're 29-2-7. They beat the LA Kings 5-2 last night. The Buffalo Sabres have won 9 in a row. What in the wide world of sports is going on here? Buffalo 4-2 over St. Louis. Edmonton 3-1 over Winnipeg. Rangers blow another third period lead. Carolina with 13 seconds left in overtime scores and beats New York 3-2. Columbus 4-1 over Ottawa. The Stammers heating up. Steven Stamkos, a pair of goals in the third period to lead Nashville, who's back to 500. They got off to an awful start this year, did the Preds. They're back to 500 with a 4-3 win in Utah. Stamkos, by the way, 599 career goals for the 35-year-old. Calgary beat Boston 2-1 in overtime. Wild jumped out to a 5-0 lead in Vegas, 1-5-2. San Jose, their young star Celebrini, a goal and 2 assists. He's got 60 points in 39 games. Sharks 5-4 over Anaheim. Vancouver 3-2 in a shutout over Seattle. By the way, World Juniors, there's 2 unbeaten teams, Sweden and the U.S. The U.S. beat Slovakia yesterday 6-5. They have a showdown with Sweden. We're not to the elimination round yet. After Wednesday, we will be. But a showdown with Sweden to determine who wins the group and who finishes second tomorrow. College basketball, 13 ranked teams in action, all of them at home, all of them winners, including number 1 Arizona, number 2 Michigan, number 3 Iowa State, and number 11 Vandy. I highlighted those 4 because those are 4 of the 6 remaining unbeaten teams in men's college basketball. 22nd ranked Gators beat Dartmouth 94-72. 14th ranked Bama 102-78 over Yale. Auburn beat Queens by 41, and South Florida won at home by 60. Women's hoops, FGCU is 4-7 heading into 2026. They've gone 2 years at times without losing 7 games. FGCU lost at home to Columbia 63-44. Women's action, UConn, Texas, South Carolina, UCLA, LSU, and Michigan, your top 6. So think about that. Michigan's number 2 in men's hoops and number 6 in women's. By the way, Nebraska is unbeaten in men's college basketball. They're also unbeaten in women's college basketball. How about that? The Huskers, men and women, are going to be unbeaten heading into 2026. That's remarkable. And one final note, If you remember, at the end of the NASCAR season, Denny Hamlin desperately wanted to win the championship for his dad, who he said doesn't have long to live. Well, his dad died yesterday, but he didn't die of natural causes. He died in a house fire in which Denny Hamlin's mom is also in critical condition. Authorities are investigating what the heck happened in the house. And at 10 minutes before the hour, that was the starting five. 5 big stories you need to know here on Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. So there. You're a big Nebraska fan, aren't you, Raj?
No, no, I'm a Purdue fan.
Oh, you're the Purdue fan. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I think I got you confused with somebody else. That's right. Well, you've had a few good years in a row in men's college hoops. That's for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Football, not so much.
Yeah, well, it's almost optional at this point, football at Purdue.
Yeah.
Okay. Basketball, they've definitely become a basketball school. So a busy day and night in the sports world there. The headliner, of course, the NFL game, but lots else going on as well. Tomorrow night, Cotton Bowl, Ohio State, 9.5-point favorite over Miami. You can get into the Orange Bowl at noon on Thursday for as little as $38, by the way. Now, it's the very top of the stadium in the corner of the end zone, and I don't know how many seats are left. But Oregon, Texas Tech, Oregon a 2.5-point favorite. That line keeps slowly going up. I think it was like Oregon -1 when they first posted it. But $38 if you want to get in the Orange Bowl. The Rose Bowl, it's kind of settled at 6.5. Indiana favorite over Alabama at 4 Eastern on Thursday. And then also 6.5, the rematch, Ole Miss and Georgia in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. So the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl played at the day and time that we're historically used to, although they had kind of pushed the Rose Bowl back to 5 Eastern. But, if you go back a little ways, 4 o'clock, 4:30 Eastern, that's when the Rose Bowl was played. They put it back in its slot. The Rose Bowl pretty much insists that, hey, New Year's Day, between 4 and 5 o'clock Eastern, that's when we're playing. We'll be very curious if the Rose Bowl, with whatever changes come down the road, if in fact the Rose Bowl can keep its slot. Will also be interesting what happens to the Rose Bowl itself now that UCLA is no longer going to play there. That stadium literally could host just one football game a year. It is beautiful, great scenery, but it's an old stadium, not that comfortable. Also, when it's packed, not that easy to get in and out of. You're literally driving through the town of Pasadena. Not exactly 3 and 4 lane roads. So it can take a while if you ever end up going. Bud Elliott in 45 minutes time to talk plenty of college football. Pat Kirwan to talk the NFL at large coming up in a little over an hour. Roy Cummings to talk the Bucs. Trent Balley in the final hour of the show here on Miller and Moulton.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers has wrapped up, and the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. And this annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized, and get rid of your snoring. Call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local glass doctor home and business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the glass doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good Greek.
I'm Joe. Our call.
How you holding up?
I'm doing all right. We still can't figure out why my mic is hot around the clock. I'm not sure.
But it's interesting. Like, that's not going over the air, correct? Because no one say that, like, our conversations during the commercial break are going over the air.
No, it's just Twitch and YouTube, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm sure it's a button.
Mark couldn't figure it out either.
The other thing that's interesting is, like, I'm not hearing the bumpers, when we're coming back. So I'm hearing it through your microphone. I'm hearing it when it's being played in the studio.
I took a picture of the board and sent it to Mark, and he said it's right. He can't figure it out.
Okay. All right.
Looks like this break is running short here. I may have to add a promo. We're like a minute short here.
Well, run the station ID at like 5950, right? Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
We're good.
All right. It just didn't look right for a second.
Now you'll have to call our guest at 7:38. You could,
and apparently everyone on Twitch will hear it too.
Well, yeah, that's.
Yeah, we don't get it. So I'm not even turning my mic on as I'm talking to you right now. About 10 seconds to intro, you'll hear it through my mic.
SWFL.com. You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final live show of 2025. Mark is off. Raj is sitting in the cozy confines in Southwest Florida. My final live show of the year comes from Hotlanta, which ain't so hot, except for the Falcons, who have suddenly won 3 in a row. Atlanta beating the Rams last night, 27-24, could help drop the Rams from the 5 seed to the 6 seed. If Seattle beats the Niners and the Rams beat Arizona, then the Rams will remain the 5. If the Niners beat the Seahawks, the Rams will be the 6. The significance, you're the 5 seed, you play the NFC South champion in the first round. You're the 6 seed. Right now, you're playing Philadelphia. One of the interesting things about the final week, who's going to play their regulars, i.e., who's going to mail it in and who's not. I would expect the Lions to play their regulars in the season finale in Chicago against the Bears. Bears with a win clinch the 2 seed. But if by chance Detroit beats them, and remember, Detroit 4 seasons ago went into Green Bay and ruined life for the Packers by winning what was a meaningless game for them, but very meaningful for Green Bay, and they beat them. Turned out to be Aaron Rodgers' final game as a Packer. So can the Lions help cost the Bears seeding? And valuable seeding at that. Because if you're the 3, you're going to play a third-place team from the NFC West that likely will have won at least 12 games, possibly even 13. Yikes. But back to or more NFL, I should say, coming up in a moment. Raj, I don't know if you'll find this cute, interesting, entertaining, or, yeah, that did nothing for me. But I stumbled upon a factoid. We have over 40 bowl games in the mid-2020s. Over 40 of them. If I asked you, Raj, how many bowl games were there in 1972, and that includes New Year's Day 1973, how many bowl games were there in 1972?
Okay, so that was the year or 2 before I was born, so I wasn't watching, but I'm going to throw out a guess and say 12.
Wow, and that's a low number, and that's still high.
Okay.
There were 8 bowl games.
Wow.
in the 1972 season. 8. They were the Blue Bonnet Bowl, the Cotton, the Gator, the Liberty, the Orange, the Rose, the Sugar, and the Sun. I'm pretty sure the earliest 2 games were the Gator and the Liberty, because the Blue Bonnet Bowl and the Sun Bowl both got played on New Year's Eve. And then the Cotton, the Orange, the Rose, and the Sugar were always played on New Year's Day. The Cotton was early, the Rose was in the middle, and the Sugar and the Orange always went head-to-head, the Orange on NBC and the Sugar on ABC. But I believe the Astro Blue Bonnet Bowl, that's right, it was the Astro Blue Bonnet Bowl. That was always a New Year's Eve night game. And it always involved the Texas school, okay, or nearby LSU. And sure enough, in 1972, the Blue Bonnet Bowl was Tennessee LSU. You'd get Houston, Baylor, Texas, Texas Tech, LSU. One of the schools that was within a drive was always in the Blue Bonnet Bowl. And it was always New Year's Eve evening. I remember I'd watch it and then turn on Dick Clark. The Cotton Bowl was Texas and Alabama. Texas won 17-13. The Gator Bowl was Auburn beating Colorado 24-3. The Liberty was Georgia Tech edging Iowa State 31-30. The Orange Bowl had Nebraska blowing out Notre Dame. That was the great 72 Nebraska team. 40-6. Notre Dame would go on to win a share of the national title the very next year. Nebraska won the showdown game with Oklahoma late in the regular season. Oklahoma beat Penn State in the Sugar Bowl, 14-0. The Rose Bowl was a great USC team blowing out Woody and Ohio State 42-17. And then the Sun Bowl, which is one of the oldest bowl games going, NC State got the better of Texas Tech 32-28. That was it. 8 bowl games. Let me throw out this scenario. What if, whether we're 12 teams, 14 teams, or 16 teams going forward, and remember, ESPN and the 11 or 12 negotiating parties have pushed the deadline as to what the playoff's going to be for next year back to January 23rd. So that's 3 weeks from Friday. So they've got 3.5 more weeks to figure out once and for all, aren't they changing the current structure? But let's just say going forward, they decide, hey, this is big business, and we got to have home games. And the only way to have home games is to get rid of bowl games. And for those that think, well, what if the teams that lose in the first round? Yeah, no one's going to be interested in then playing in some exhibition game. And that's really what a bowl game is. It's an exhibition. Okay. If you lose in the first round of the playoffs, the coaches aren't going to want to coach. The players aren't going to want to play. Okay. The fans aren't going to want to go. So it ain't going to happen. So let's just say we go to 16, which we all think we're going to, and we're going to have home games. And at the very least, we're going to have them for the first round. I think, and a lot of people do, we should have them for the first 2 rounds. Isn't that going to cost us like 10 bowl games? And would that be the worst thing in the world? Now, I mean, still, we're going to have like 30 games, 32. It could even be more. But just wondering if maybe what they're going to come up with in the next 3.5 weeks is going to cut down on these bowl games. And I really wonder going forward if ESPN's torn here because we're still watching these things. We are. The numbers are good. There's not a ton of programming. Like ESPN puts the NHL on. You know what they get? They get 600,000 people watching most games. They put a bowl game on. They could put a bad bowl game on. They get 1.5 million to 2 million people watching. They put a decent bowl game on. They get 3 to 4 million people watching. Never mind what they get for the playoffs and the quarters, etc. I mean, they put the NBA on, and I don't even know what night ESPN has the NBA anymore. I don't know if they have it during the week or it's just Saturday or whatever. But they put a run-of-the-mill NBA game on. Even last year, when they were highlighting the NBA on Saturday nights, they'd get 2 million. For a good NBA game, they'd get 2 million on ABC. And so that's why if you're ESPN, I mean, it's a lot of money to shell out for these games. You run the risk going forward of more and more teams and players not wanting to be a part of it. I mean, you know, not to belabor the game that I'm going to be a very small part of the broadcast of tomorrow afternoon, but Arizona State's got almost 30 guys on the roster that are not participating in the Sun Bowl. And they're not the only one. I mean, between injuries, opt-outs, and transfers, I mean, most teams got 24 kids who, yeah, they may have been on the roster, but they ain't playing in the bowl game. I mean, there are schools that are literally saying to the media partners broadcasting the game, like 72 hours before the game, we don't have a depth chart yet. I mean, Arizona State sent CBS their depth chart yesterday. The game's tomorrow. I mean, that's how in flux these games are. In the future, I'll be curious how many of these teams and players are genuinely going to play in them. Notre Dame was not the only school to opt out of playing in a bowl game this year. Now, they were the ones that opted out of the biggest payday. They were going to get $3 million for being in the Pop-Tart Bowl, which, by the way, does look like a lot of fun. I mean, and you know what? Good for BYU. They embraced the hell out of that game. All right. Sataki there when he won. Okay. He dug into that Pop-Tart like he hadn't eaten all day. I mean, you know what? Good. It does seem like a fun experience. But how many of these bowl games are we going to have going forward? Will ESPN keep paying for the audience, which is a really good audience? But they're going to have more and more playoff games to pay for unless they're going to sublet them all out. I don't think so. So we'll be very curious. First off, quick look at what the bowl games looked like 50 plus years ago. And then secondly, what is it going to look like by the end of this decade? And will ESPN keep footing the bill? Bud Elliott in 25 minutes. We'll talk about that, but we'll preview the 4 quarterfinals coming up. Pat Kirwan, all things NFL. Try to ask him about this Matt Ryan story. He works with Matt at CBS. Matt Ryan with a prominent role in the Falcons organization. What does he know? How prominent? GM? President? And should the Dolphins do the same with Marino? Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Roddy, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest, fair pricing and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
I love the week after Christmas. The energy just feels right.
The rush is over. The new year is coming. Maybe it's time to treat yourself.
Jason and I are in the store every day, ready to make a deal with you.
Overstocks up to 50% off. Maybe you got Christmas money. Maybe not exactly what you hoped for.
Or maybe a million proposal is in your heart.
New year, new you. Do it at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Just checking. You're still hearing me, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't get it. Mm-mm. About a minute.
Raj, I have a question.
Yeah.
The starting five, is there any way for you to replay that?
Maybe.
Because I don't know if Trent's going to be able to make it.
Okay.
And if I do the show till 10, I'm going to miss my flight.
All right. I'll have to during breaks, I'm going to have to mess with some stuff and see if I can get
because
it.
Because it was a 38 segment. So literally you would just run the segment in its entirety. It would time out perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can or not.
I will work on that. We're coming back here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark is off today. Raj is sitting in. For the most part, he's not saying anything. Okay. You know, he has full reign. He can jump in whenever he wants. But to be honest, we just went over the 1972 bowl season. Okay. Our board that Raj is having to engineer this show with is from the 1972 bowl season. So we're both a little on edge, a little edgy, just trying to keep this show, get it on the air, keep it on the air, not have anything go over the air that shouldn't, not have stuff that should go over the air not. So Raj is laying low. He's not saying much, but he has permission. For those that have wondered, he can jump in at any time.
I am able to speak. Yes. Thank you. The board is doing some weird things, though. I got to say, it's got me a little freaked out. But.
Yeah. Well, and you're used to working with equipment like that in that building, but that is the oldest, worst equipment in the building, as you are finding out firsthand.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's why Raj is being very quiet, because he's just crossing his fingers and toes, and we're just trying to get through every segment. But Elliott scheduled to join us in about 15 minutes time. We'll talk plenty of college football playoff with Bud. Also, some folks have chimed in the chat room, and they want Bud to answer a few questions, whether it be about the Michigan situation or what have you. I just want to throw this out there to the college football fan. Is the current system sustainable to you? All the money that it now takes, all of it out in the open, and how quickly you can seemingly go from the outhouse to the penthouse, etc., and how difficult it seems once you fall out of line to get back in line. Look at Clemson. Is Clemson about to go on a 10-plus year run? Is Clemson about to become Nebraska? Is Clemson about to go on a Miami-esque period where they had the name and the reputation and past glory, but they ain't that anymore? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Clemson going forward. They certainly do not have the talent that they had 5 years ago. Certain programs, whether the money was being done under the table, as Ed Orgeron says, through the back door and not the front, but there are certain programs that 5 to 10 years ago, they had a lot more talent in the barn than they have now. And now that it's all out in the open, and anybody can openly say, here you go, certain programs don't seem to be what they were not that long ago. Is Clemson one of those programs? But I just read something during the break. Apparently, Iowa State's got 17 guys left on the roster who played this year. Between guys who are graduating and over 30 plus who have transferred, they have like one returning starter and only 17 varsity players on the roster right now. Right now. James Madison, who just made the playoff. Now, whether they should have or not is for a different day. But James Madison just had all 11 starters on offense get up and leave. We talked about it yesterday. North Texas, best season they've had in a very long time. I think they had a 12-win season. I think they went 11-1, lost the American Championship game, and then won their bowl game. It was at least an 11-win season. Might have been a 12. All right. They just had everybody get up and leave. And those guys were all 0, 1, and 2-star recruits who North Texas helped. You know, the guys deserve a lot of credit too, but obviously North Texas and that staff, and they cultivated them and they coached them up. I mean, the quarterback was a 0-star. And the whole team just got up and left. Now, you can't blame them. I'm not blaming them. They're going to get paid. And other schools can pay them more than North Texas. But is this sustainable for you, the fan? Or are you a fan of a big, big boy and you just don't care? But the reason it's important, like Raj, you're a Purdue guy. What happens when we've got like 64 to 68 teams that are at the Power 4 and Notre Dame level? What happens if that gets condensed to around 36 to 48, which a lot of people think is coming in the next 6 to 8 years? I mean, Raj, what happens when your school's one of those that's told very politely, you're not part of the big boy club anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, you're now a mid-major. Have fun.
Yeah, glorified, but yeah.
Wow.
I mean, what happens when you're told that basically, yeah, you're a Mountain West school as far as we're concerned. You can play Big Ten in the other sports, but you ain't in the football club. That's an exclusive club.
Let's just hope they can get enough money together to, pull a Signetti before that happens, I guess.
But will it matter to you, or would you just go, well, I'll still root for them in basketball and I won't care?
It would matter to me. I mean, we had a few good years while I've been alive. I mean, not Joe Tiller, didn't he go to a Rose Bowl with Drew Brees? Yep, Tiller and Brees, 2000. And, Jeff Brom had a little success there, and that wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. Knocked off a really good Ohio State team, I think, in 2019.
Yeah.
So, in prime time, yes.
One of my favorite games I've ever seen. Actually.
I was going to say, they still talk about it. I've been there a couple times the last 2 years, and trust me, they don't have a lot of reference points here recently. So it does get brought up. But so just throwing that out there, is this sustainable? We'll all let's face it, in our own lives, we've had messy periods. We've known as we're in those periods, man, I got to get my act together, or we have to get our act together. But you plow through the messy period. You eventually get it together. You look back and you tell war stories. Some of them pleasant, some of them funny, and some of them not. If that's what we're going through, if that's the 2020s, I can handle that as a fan. I feel as if we're getting closer to the edge of the cliff rapidly. I mean, this whole basketball thing, we're already allowing those that have played professionally, those that have been drafted and have been traded from one organization to another. We're giving them college eligibility. We're considering giving college eligibility to current NBA players who didn't play college ball and want to come back and they're on a current NBA roster. And I know it's basketball and not football, but if we're doing that, I mean, if the kid from the Chicago Bulls can get 2+ years of eligibility from the NCAA, well, then what's going to prevent Diego Pavia from playing college football till he's in his, 34 years old? I mean, how far away is that? I mean, we are truly professionalizing this, to me, beyond even what I'm comfortable with. And I want these guys to get a lot because they are fronting a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I always thought just the scholarship was a joke. But just curious, how unseemly is this to you? Or is this just, it's messy. That's probably what we're always going to remember the 2020s to be, but I'm okay with it. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Bud Elliott, we'll get into the college football quarterfinals. He's next. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour. Roy Cummings in an hour to talk the Tampa Bay Bucs, whose playoff situation got worse last night. Miller and
Your
Moulton.
roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
My name is Adam.
Good morning, Bud. Hey, this is Roger. Miller's out today, so I'm sitting in his spot, and Moulton is here. All right. Good. How you doing? Nice. That sounds awesome. Well, I called you a little early because we've had some weird things going on with the board here, so wanted to make sure I got you, but we are about 3.5. So three and a half out. So I'm sorry to All right. I'll just set you up on hold here, and we'll be talking to you in a minute. Thanks, bub. All right. I'm sure you heard that, David, but I got it.
Okay. And yet you don't have to do it now. Just let me know if replaying 638 at 938 is a possibility.
I'm going to start to look into that probably during this segment.
Okay. It's
What are they doing dragging your butt here so early in the morning?
This mic is hot, but I'm sitting in for Miller. So
Good grief.
Yeah, no kidding.
Making you come up, get up early in the morning.
This garage door, it's still not working right.
Raj,
Yes.
the only thing I'm concerned about, since we're hearing everything in that studio, is when you're working on that, are we going to hear it?
No, I'm
Okay.
going to go to my
Okay.
little room across the hall.
Gotcha. Okay. Make sure this segment gets started that Bud can hear me, and
Oh, yeah.
just give it 30 seconds. Thank you.
You got it. About a minute.
ESPN Southwest Florida. ESPN Southwest Florida.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan scheduled to join us then. Roy Cummings 1 hour from now to talk about the Tampa Bay Bucs, who have gone from 6-2 to a fairly precarious position, not only this season, but where their franchise is going. We'll talk to Pat and Roy about that. But Bud Elliott, kind enough to join us, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, Cover 3 podcast, and Nolecast. We'll get into the Noles in a bit. Follow Bud on X at Bud Elliott, the number 3, 2 L's, 2 T's, Bud Elliott 3. Mark is off today, Bud, so it's just me. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Well,
not you guys. How are you doing? Because Mark's off.
Yes, I'm doing fine. Thanks. And by the way, thanks for everything in 2025 and really for the decade leading up to it. We really appreciate it, especially for how busy and how big you have gotten. Let's cover some ground here. I mentioned Nolecast. They're one of the leaders, I guess, and guys who are getting up and leaving. Is it as bad as it looks on paper, or was it expected? And they're replacing just about everybody who's leaving anyway, so no big deal.
So it is as bad as it looks on paper. I think it wasn't expected. I think it was expected by maybe not people in the building, but like I expected it, because I thought they would really screw the situation up pretty hard, to be honest, and first guessed it with the timing of their decision to keep Mike Norvell and their really kind of half-assed plan of, hey, we're going to go top down with getting a GM and NFL style front office in here, a decision which, if you thought you were all going to contemplate, should have been made after the Stanford loss in late September, right? But they didn't do that. They waited until after the season, and portal deals get done like Thanksgiving, early December. You don't wait to do them until now. Like, these kids already know where they're going, and the people they had handling this internally, because remember Derek Ray, the GM who was up and down there. He had a great portal class. It helped him in 22 and 23. 24 obviously kind of whipped on it pretty hard. Then 25 was fine, just like they were in a tough spot. Like, he's already gone to UCLA, so you have some people handling the situation there who are not equipped to do so, and they botched it pretty badly. It's definitely as bad as it looks. I think they will be worse next year.
All right. The final Knowles question. I heard over the weekend that they have they're bringing in 2 guys for their front office. One, I guess, will officially be the general manager, but A, who are these people? And B, does it really take that much infrastructure nowadays to run a college football program?
I don't really take issue with the amount of infrastructure. I feel like, organization is important. So they're bringing Taylor Edwards from Miami. He was previously at Maryland, had a couple other stops, and I think he's a solid hire. John Garrett, who is the brother of Jason Garrett, who was with them for a while, and then went to Duke. I think those guys, I don't want to besmirch their qualifications. I think they're fine. We know that they were turned down by more candidates I can count on one hand, for sure. And those are just guys I confirm that said no thanks to the job, because like those guys that I talked to thought they were being set up to fail, given the lateness of the hour in the hiring process, the athletic director stance on NIL, and a couple of other things. Obviously, like kind of probably a lame duck head coach. So I think they could do a fine job given the circumstance given, but like a fine job given the circumstance given is not a job that Knowles fans are going to be happy about.
Chip Kelly, in a story that's breaking this morning, is going to be the offensive coordinator at Northwestern. It seems as if he was up for bigger jobs than that. In the last 2 years, he was calling plays at Ohio State and in the NFL. That seems like a pretty big fall.
Yeah, some of the reports on him at Las Vegas were odd, and I don't know whether to believe them. So I don't really want to repeat them on your air. That's an interesting hire. Obviously, the guy knows how to call plays if he's good and right, So I guess he'll work out there. I think David Braun is a pretty darn good football coach for Northwestern. He's done a really good job there. He's done better than Fitz did the last couple of years when he was with the Wildcats. So maybe that works out. I hadn't seen that this morning. That's interesting.
All right. Let's talk Michigan. Surprised at the choice, yes or no, and your thoughts on Kyle Whittingham?
Surprised, yes. I think that, in today's college football, I'm not really sure how important it is that you have a coach you can sell to a kid, hey, he's going to be here the next 10 years, right? I know Whittingham is older, but I still think he's an excellent football coach. If he's really bringing Jay Hill from BYU and Jason Beck from Utah as his coordinators, I think that's really a dynamite coordinator duo. I think his teams will play hard. They'll play physical, which Michigan fans can appreciate. Obviously, you got to kind of get in there and get buddy with quarterback Bryce Underwood pretty fast, assuming he's going to stick around and kind of cater the offense to him. We probably only have 2 more years left of that guy. Most likely before he goes to the NFL. But given the circumstances, I have a hard time knocking this hire. The age is probably the only thing that would give you some pause, because he's 67 66 or 67.
Yeah,
I think,
60.
which comes from
Yeah,
Moulton.
60,
So,
66.
you know,
Yeah.
like that's a bit older. Obviously, probably not going to coach for 10 more years. But like at this point, if he gives you 4 really good ones and stabilizes your program, do you care?
Were they holding out for DeBoer?
I think so. Also, it's very well known in the industry that Matt Campbell, like Michigan, was the job he had long coveted. So the timing on, like, when the Sherman Moore stuff broke, relative to when Matt Campbell took Penn State is kind of tragic in some ways.
He's Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, Cover 3 Podcast, Nolecast. Follow him on X at Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3, Bud Elliott 3. All right, let's go through the quarterfinals one by one. Tomorrow night, the Cotton Bowl. Ohio State, 9.5-point favorite over Miami. First off, how significant, if at all, do you think it is that Ryan Day is calling the plays as opposed to the guy who did all year in Brian Hartline?
So if he was truly unhappy with how they called plays, you know, in the Big Ten championship game, then maybe there's significant. I think Ryan Day is a strong play caller. If not, then it's probably not that big of a deal. I think this thing comes down largely to, like, can Miami throw the ball down the field? Miami has been one of the shortest passing teams in the country this year. They've been effective with that, but Ohio State has so much speed at safety and linebacker, and like they just swarm so well, and they run, because those kids are so smart and veterans, they run such a great variety of coverages and concepts that you really don't see most college defense. Like, just be able to show you that variety. It's like a pitcher in baseball who can throw 4 pitches for strikes and like 4 good ones. You know, you just don't see that very much from a college defense. So, but can Miami throw the ball down the field? I do not think Ohio State is going to let themselves get kicked apart with the underneath stuff like Miami's lived on most of the year.
I look at this game and see low scoring because, you know, Ohio State ran for less than 60 yards against Indiana, and I don't see them doing a whole lot better against the Canes, which will make them one-dimensional. It's a hell of a dimension, but Indiana kind of kept it in check, and in theory, Miami should be able to do the same. I mean, doesn't this scream 20-13 type of game?
Yeah, David, I think you nailed it. I expect an under game here. I think that's like most likely where we're going with this. I kind of like first half under, to be honest, is what I took yesterday on cover 3, just with the idea that Miami had so much success running the ball against Texas A&M in the second half. Maybe they come out thinking that, like, hey, we need to establish that a little bit earlier. We're really good at doing that, and they are, right? So maybe get some slow moving drives out of Miami early on and get home with an under. I do think Miami can win the game if their defensive line like completely shows up and dominates, but it's hard to see them doing so if that doesn't happen.
All right. So we're both picking the Buckeyes in a low-scoring game. The cover is very much up in the air. Okay. Oregon, Texas Tech. By the way, upper deck corner end zone, $38. Tickets still available. But the line keeps slowly moving further and further to Oregon, now 2.5-point favorite. Can Texas Tech's offensive line hold up in this game, Bud?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm not seeing a whole lot of people talk about that, David. And ultimately, like, how many good D lines has Texas Tech really faced this year? Like, you play nobody in the non-conference, and in the Big 12, you're just not facing many like elite level D lines. You have multiple players who are going to go pro, and then Oregon, like, they're not the best D line in the country, but I think all 4 of those guys will play in the NFL, right? So, yeah, like that's really kind of my question. And specifically, how well do they hold up when they get in the red zone? Texas Tech has been an awful red zone offense this year relative to like the rest of their team strengths. I mean, if you look at one of these stat sheets, they're all green all over the place, and yet they're like outside the top 100 in red zone scoring efficiency. Like that, it's crazy. And you see it in some of their games. Like, wow, that final was big. They should have pulled away a lot earlier. They could just score touchdowns in the red zone. On the other hand, guys, Oregon's red zone defense is sneakily awful. So maybe if you're Texas Tech, you're like, yeah, we're bad at scoring points in the red zone. Texas Tech is like, everybody gets a free pass to the end zone, or Oregon gives everybody a free pass to the end zone once they get in the red zone. So something's got to give there.
The Rose Bowl. Indiana, a solid touchdown favorite over Alabama. We all know Alabama's pretty one-dimensional offensively, and there is no more balanced a team on both sides of the ball than Indiana. How does Bama win this game? By the way, I can't believe I'm asking you a question. How does Alabama beat Indiana in football? But in all seriousness, how does an unbalanced team beat the most balanced team in the country?
All right, so I think this comes down to one thing. Bama, which is primarily a zone defense, they're going to have to get out of that and play a lot of man coverage against what Indiana wants to run. Indiana is a very heavy RPO style offense, and for your audience, RPO meaning like you're identifying which guy on defense you want to read, and you're either handing the ball off or throwing it. Obviously, like Mendoza is not running it, so a true run or pass option. It's a lot easier to do that against a zone defense than it is against a man defense, right? Now, Bama does not run a lot of man, but I do think they have the athletes and the players to do it in theory. How well does that work in practice? Like, can you implement that? Can you play a whole bunch of man coverage with just what, like 8 or 9 days between games now at this point? I don't know. If they can play man coverage well against Indiana, they can certainly win the ball game and shut down the Indiana offense. If not, I have a hard time seeing them sit back in zone and Mendoza not hitting some of those open guys they allow.
And finally, the Sugar Bowl. Besides Ole Miss's play caller, what has changed in this game from Ole Miss losing to Georgia by a score, which is what they did in between the hedges about 6 weeks ago?
Yeah. So I think like the key thing here is, does Georgia center Drew Bobo play? He went out like late in the second quarter against Georgia Tech in the final 6 quarters. Since then, I've not been super impressed with Georgia's offense. I know they scored points on Alabama, but if you actually watch like how those points were scored, I thought a lot of those were kind of like not really all that impressive. A lot of it was field position and turnover related points. Like does his like absence continue to impact them in a big way? The other thing I would say that is different is the Georgia defense has grown up. They're a little bit healthier. They were rotating and playing a lot of young players on the season. Like that defense almost cost them the game in Athens against Ole Miss. Georgia scored on every single full drive that they had against Ole Miss, like not counting the end of the half one and the end of the game one where they basically had no time, right? I think they were 8 for 8. So, I mean, I still think they can probably score on Ole Miss. Can Ole Miss score on what is, I think, now a better Georgia defense? And also, what's the health of Kirwan Lacey, their running back, who's been an absolute stud this year running the ball, but also catching it, and especially in pass protection. I mean, he is a beast in putting his body on the line, but he banged up his shoulder really good against Tulane, and I don't know like what his status is. He's out there and he's not 100%. I would expect Georgia to blitz him early and often to test out that shoulder.
Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, Cover 3 Podcast, No Cast. Follow him on X, Bud Elliott, which is 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3, Bud Elliott 3. Bud and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Bud, Happy New Year to you and your family. Safe travels. Thanks for all you contribute.
You as well, David. Happy New Year, buddy.
Bud Elliott. Pat Kirwan is next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton The sent you. 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since glass got moved on our shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, and pretty love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I got you. You got me?
Yep, that's all that counts.
Yep.
Mark is off today.
All right. Good for him.
Hi, Pat. I'm Roger.
I said I wasn't here. Hey, Raj. How are you?
Good. Thanks.
Roger's in the dark.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes, he's.
who are you over there? The shadow knows.
He's not worried about what it looks like on Twitch and YouTube. He does not want the glare that studio provides when you put on the overhead.
I don't know how Mark does it.
Yeah. Angrily. Are you out in San Francisco, Dave?
No, in Atlanta. I head to El Paso for the Sun Bowl. I head to El Paso.
For that game.
Yeah, and then I get to San Francisco New Year's Day at lunchtime.
There you go. I wanted to tell you what was going on with Matt Ryan, but I was sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, don't say anything. I'm going to ask you a hypothetical, by the way, about that.
All right. Ah, yes.
Raj, thanks for doing that. I appreciate it.
No problem. Wasn't hard at all.
Raj, I've met you, I think. Do you have an office in that building?
Yeah, it's a kind of. Yeah, it's a little tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was knocking on the door once to get in the back door, and you let me in.
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't even know it was you. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I do
off not
remember.
knowing.
Actually, I do. I did know it was you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, we're almost set with these playoffs.
Yeah.
Actually, the Chargers did us a big favor saying they're not playing Justin.
Yeah,
that kind of locks up Denver.
By the way,
New
they did
England's
it a day
heartbroken.
too. They did it a day too late, though. Now you got Nance, Romo, and company headed there, and they're kind of like, "Oh, blank! I'd go somewhere else."
Yeah, well, that's why you have turnarounds. I don't care what it takes you to get the truck there. What was close to that? Well, last Sunday was the worst 4:00 window of all time.
Well, okay. Don't you have to blame the NFL, though, when you schedule 3 games on Christmas and 2 on Saturday, and there's a Monday night game, you only have 10 other games to choose from.
Right.
And you got a Sunday night game,
really,
so that's 9.
No, they yeah, it was disgraceful, but I would have put the Seattle Carolina game on at 4:00.
Yes, absolutely.
About 10 seconds till.
Okay.
We wouldn't have to lie about the Raiders and the Giants fighting for the first pick. Who cares? The Giant fans were all mad at the Giants.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Mark is off today, the final live show of 2025. Best of Miller and Moulton on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Miller and Moulton back, full house, Football Friday, taking us into Week 18 of the NFL. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL. He of SiriusXM's NFL Radio. The show is moving the chains. It's weekdays 3 to 7 during the season, Saturdays 2 to 5, and on Sundays he's an instrumental part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat always joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, over a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. How you holding up here as 2025 comes to an end?
Well, it's the same thing I say week 1 when you ask me how I'm holding up. I'm just counting the weeks to get through them. And the number 18 is here, and we got all kinds of crazy things going on. I'm kind of happy that there's still an unsettled stacking of the playoff teams, which is great. I was looking at the defenses today. The top 5 defenses in the NFL right now, giving up points, which is always the most important thing, they're all in the playoffs. Surprise, surprise. The only one who's not in that's under 20 points is Kansas City, which tells you how good Spags group is. But Houston, Seattle, Philly, New England, Denver, that in that order. Defense gets you there. Now, Bill Cowher would say defense will get you in the playoffs, but a quarterback will win you a Super Bowl. I don't know if you believe that, David, but that's how Bill sees it.
Well, over the last 20 years, it has almost always proven to be the case, which, of course, is one of the overriding questions heading into these playoffs. Are these young quarterbacks who have never done it in January and February before, is this going to be their time to break through and get it done? But before we get to that, Pat, you were a part of a few front offices, and a colleague of yours, Matt Ryan, is reportedly entertaining the idea of becoming a prominent member of the Falcons front office. If he were to take the job and call you and say, hey, what would you do? Pat, the Falcons, think about it. You can look at them one of 2 ways. The current coach and front office have screwed up the best roster in the division, and they all need to be replaced. Or, you know what? I think we all finally figured it out. We just did it 10 minutes too late, and I probably should just re-rack this sucker and head into 2026 because I got the best team in the division on paper. I mean, seriously, what do you do if you're Atlanta?
Well, I think whether Matt goes or not, I think you're going to have to think about giving Raheem one more year and let him sort this out. They took those young pass rushers. I knew James Pierce was going to be good. He's just the style of pass rusher the NFL wants. So they've got pass rushers. They took a big risk getting rid of their Grady inside, but I think they're going to be better. And look, they're going to land up, if they win this, with the same record as Tampa Bay and Carolina. And that three-way thing, we can discuss that some other time. But I would probably say Raheem earned the right to coach this one more time.
And it is fascinating with Atlanta winning last night. So the Saints and the Falcons have been eliminated from the playoffs. They're the two hottest teams in the division. New Orleans has won 4 in a row, Atlanta 3 in a row. They play Sunday. If Atlanta wins, Carolina's won the South, no matter what happens in the Carolina-Tampa game. If Tampa beats Carolina and the Saints win, then the Bucs are NFC South champions. The Chargers have already said we're resting Justin Herbert. It could cost them going from the 6 to the 7 seed. But then again, it was going to be a tough game to win anyway. Kansas City did the same thing with Mahomes in the finale last year at Denver. If you're Green Bay, you're literally the only team that's locked into a specific seeding. You're the 7 seed in the NFC. Don't you do what the Chargers have just announced they're doing?
I'm sorry.
Absolutely. They should be resting guys like crazy. It's a long year, and this is their bye week, right? They're not the 1 seed. There's only 2 teams getting a true bye. And if you want to buy for your best players, didn't say all your players, for your best players, you got to take week 18 off and give them a little rest and get them ready to go and not risk injury. Last year, Philadelphia was the 2 seed. They knew they couldn't get to the 1, so they rested their receivers, their running back, their quarterback, a lot of people, as many as possible. You can never rest them all because really you never have 10 linemen on game day. And so you got to have linemen playing. But I would absolutely do it. And I think some other teams should think about doing it. Now that Denver has gotten a green light to play the Chargers without Herbert, everyone will look at that and say they're a lock to win it. And that puts the playoffs through Denver until further notice. New England should rest some guys. I don't think there's a difference between being the 2 and the 3. We know the 4 in both conferences is a lock. It's the games that are going to be played, and they're not going to be able to advance past the 4. So New England, Jacksonville, Chicago, Philly, just rest your guys. You want to lose a guy now? Forget it. That's a mistake.
How do the Steelers lose that game, if you know what I mean? I know it's the NFL. Anybody can beat anybody, but
Metcalf.
Come on.
I'm blaming him for the whole thing.
Really?
Absolutely. 100%. And I have no mercy on the guy. And we can talk about people managing behind the bench. I get it. And people in security. I get it. He draws man and a half or double coverage. Once he wasn't on the field, they had the opportunity to do anything they want. Blitz people, double other people, play the run and the pass at the same time. Metcalf, thanks a lot for what you did. And you're going to do it again this week.
That could be big. That could
I have
change.
no excuses for that guy. Know him, but sorry.
Pat, that could change the future of an entire organization. I mean, they could play well this week. It's the Ravens. They could lose that game, and then they're out. And, another winning season. But if this year goes the way it could possibly go, this was everything that the Rooney said they were not going to tolerate any more of. I mean, that loss in Cleveland could change this whole organization.
Yeah, it could. And they had the opportunity to knock out all of his guaranteed money in his deal. And if you lose the playoffs because of this, which I believe they will, then you really have to ask yourself, why are we not taking the guarantees off his contract? Is this a club, you're the historian, is this a club that's had all kinds of strange receivers on the roster? And they ultimately always figure out to get rid of them.
Yes. Well, if the Steelers don't exercise the clause, because I mean, it just flat out says in his contract, if he gets suspended basically for any reason, the guaranteed money is no longer guaranteed. Well, then you have to exercise that clause. I mean, it's $40 million in guaranteed money. He can still make the money if they keep him on the roster, but this does give him the out. If they're just disgusted, they can walk away.
I bet you they don't, which they ought to. But
wow,
I'm furious with him.
No, that would be shocking to me if they don't exercise that clause. Why put it in the contract if a guy's going to violate it? And then I mean, that to me would be maybe even a bigger indictment on the Steelers organization than anything they've done here recently. Is Drake May going to win the MVP? And I know we don't care about these things like we used to, but I mean, is Marino the last second-year quarterback to win the MVP, or did Mahomes do it his second year? I mean, this doesn't happen very often, a second-year quarterback winning the MVP.
That's true. I'm a voter, so I have some strong feelings about other people. I like Drake May, and I'm going to let this week finish out, and then I'm going to sit and really think about it. But I'm having a hard time passing on Christian McCaffrey with 400 touches, and they have to play. They have to play him this week. They're going to get, and think about what his touches are going to be if they go all the way to the Super Bowl. He's going to get to 500 touches. I don't know. You tell me, could they win without him?
Pat, he may get to 500 touches before the Super Bowl. And does a player in the league need the bye week more than Christian McCaffrey? Think how big that would be for the Niners. All their injuries gives Fred Warner a bye week to help heal and contribute to the playoffs. And then you can run McCaffrey 35 times if you need to this coming Saturday night. And if you win, he's got 10 days off before he has to practice.
Yeah. And he needs it. And it also means they don't have to go to Chicago or Philadelphia to play a game in maybe snow, wind, and rain. So the synchronization of their offense and the timing of the way it works, it'd be good for them to be home. But so there are other guys that I think we have to talk about.
Fair enough. It's got about
McCaffrey's
60 seconds before we take our first break. How about Brock Purdy the last 2 weeks? You know, he had that toe injury. People downplay it, even though you try to tell them how serious it is. He didn't look like he was all that much better than Mac Jones. Boy, last 2-3 weeks, he looks like one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, he looks like they paid the right guy, and we were all challenging that contract. And then, keep Mac on the field. Let him rest another week. We weren't concerned about his health. We wanted to see more Mac. Not anymore. Purdy's doing a great job. And they knew what they were looking at. I mean, Kyle, he knows what he wants, and he saw what he saw in this kid. Not when he drafted him, but after he put him on the team. And I talked this story before with you guys. The first time he walked in the huddle, he told the veterans to shut up. He had to make a play call, and they loved him for it.
By the way, 2 years, $6 million total for Mac Jones. How great of a contract and deal was that by the Niners last offseason? They may have the best backup quarterback in the league. He's going to cost them $3 million on next year's cap. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Even though Pat will join us again on Friday, we'll talk a little bit more from week 17 in the NFL and some offseason stuff looming with Pat next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
My name is Adam, but I'm not the most important person at Elliott. That would be the teams fixing your air conditioner unclogged.
Pat, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, good.
I got you.
Because
I
I
was
know we've
just
had troubles in the
Sending a note
past.
to Dan Marino.
Tell him
Yeah,
tell him we said hi, and he should ask for whatever Matt Ryan's getting and more. And remember, people can hear what you say, so you don't need to reply.
Dan was just wishing me Merry Christmas. It's really complicated. Nobody ever gave a better gift to me than Dan Marino. And he did it every year for about 12.
Isotoner gloves?
No, but everyone always says that. They always ask if it was isotoner gloves. My man.
Troy sends stuff having usually to do with meat. Like he sent 2 huge steaks last year. This year he sent like a $500 cutting board. Okay, honestly. I mean, it's big, thick wood. I mean,
Yeah. Coach Cowher for years sent me Johnny Walker Blue.
ooh.
Until after about 7 bottles of it in my house, when I said to him, I do not drink scotch, he switched to some exotic tequila.
Was
But
there
I said,
anyone?
I didn't finish the sentence. I said I should have finished the sentence with, but my brother comes over and he loves it.
I was going to say there had to be somebody in your family that counted on it every year.
Yep. but it always came with a little tag on the bottle that it was part of it. Merry Christmas, Janet and Pat. But he said, "How you liking that blue?" After years of it, and I go, I don't drink it. I don't like scotch. He goes, "What? Why didn't you tell me?" I said, "I have a brother who loves it. He'd be mad at me." Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
You're going to go
People
to Friday night?
Say it again. Friday night hockey, yeah. Finally.
Yeah.
Interesting to see what the fan reaction to this whole thing is.
Well, from what I've heard, they're not happy. They want refunds, and the Blades are not offering refunds for the games missed. They're offering to just like take that money and put it towards future stuff. And there are some people who are like, no, I want the money back.
Yeah. I don't know how they can not refund people unless the fine print on the ticket says they don't have to.
Less than 30.
Yeah. I just love going to the game, so I'm over it. I told you it worked out great for me. If they reschedule games, those were games I was going to miss the other day with CBS, so I won't miss the next ones.
ESPN, UFL.com. It's the Pro Football Challenge presented by Seminole Casino Hotel.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan on our last live show of 2025. Best of Miller and Moulton, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Mark back in the fold on Friday for a Football Friday, our first live show of 2026. Pat Kirwan joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. That's over a dozen locations of Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. All right. I'm going to throw something out at you, which I know is going to sound crazy, but is it? Are the 2025 Houston Texans bearing a resemblance to the 2000 Baltimore Ravens? That defense is destroying people, and it doesn't matter if they're home or away.
They are very good. But you're asking me to put them in the legendary category.
Well,
which
no.
I can.
No. I'm not asking that, but I'm just saying, remember what the Ravens did. That was a legendary defense, no doubt. But that defense will travel. There's no one they can't beat in the playoffs. Hell, just about everybody that could potentially played, they've already beat. So that's what I'm wondering. Can this team just take its act, whether they're a 5, a 6, or a 7, and just run the damn table?
Well, I think they're going to be the 5. And they're playing Indianapolis. They're going to beat those guys. They'll make them 12-5, and they're going to stay at the 5 seed. And they're going to play the winner of the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game, and they're going to win. So now we move on to what else is going to happen in there. And I think they could be, but the offense is weak enough that I can't jump on top of it. I do think they can play defense against anybody, but I don't know if the offense can score enough when needed. And they might need to be able to score more in a game or two, like going to Denver. Because I will say this, I've said it to you 100 times. I stood in Denver a month ago on the field and watched the Chiefs, who have a defense that gives up less than 20 points, unable to rush the passer in the whole fourth quarter. And the more you watch Nix, the way he runs around, he just gasses the defensive line. And you tell me what happens to Houston if that defensive line gets the altitude problem because it happened with Elway and it's happening again. So that's just, I'm kind of on your side, but as I look, I'm trying to find my spot where there's maybe it's not good enough. And I think at altitude, I'd be nervous about it happening.
Could see that. Tell you what, though, if you're Denver, you get a first-round bye, and the team you end up playing first one out of the chute would be that defense. That's a tough draw, even for a 1 seed. That would be, yeah.
I spent some time with Sean Payton on this subject, and we were when we were doing the game. I saw him in pregame. If I was there and I had Denver and I had to play Houston, I'd go no huddle in the first half and totally gas them out.
I like the strategy. I do, because also what you pointed out, even if you have a quick 3 and out or 2, Houston's offense doesn't scare you. It's not ideal.
Denver's got a defense too.
Exactly. Right.
That'd
be interesting.
How do I take your best element and neutralize it? And to me, it's a no huddle of attack on those guys. They will not be able to hold up and keep rushing the passer.
How concerned are you with Josh Allen's health? Okay, he has to be Superman for them. If he's healthy, he is. He ain't 100%. I don't know if he's much better than 80. How concerned are you about Josh Allen for the Bills?
I'm concerned if they play him this week. And no, yes, I talked to Dr. Chow about it yesterday, and he said, well, it's hard to tell him he can't play. I said, no, it's not. You're not playing. It's really simple, Doc. I don't care about hurting feelings. Pete had no problem telling Crosby, you're not playing. This is an easy one for me. He is not playing, and he's not doing anything this week. He's going to get off his feet and rest and get himself ready for what he's got to do.
Do you think that is an overblown story? I could understand Max being angry with the organization. I'm a warrior. I like to play. It's what I do. But I mean, to the point where I want out of here, which is what people were insinuating. I mean, that's a pretty big next step, isn't it?
Max likes to talk. He thinks he is the leader. And when I'm out there with those guys, he's very interested in sitting down with an interview with me and Jim. But he always likes to bring a young compadre along that he is in the middle of, in his mind, developing. So he is that guy, and he is a guy that never misses practice, games, anything. But this is just prudent. You don't want a major injury. He's already got a knee. He's played through it. But so did Bowers, and Pete put Bowers down. And Pete Bowers was the best tight end in the country a year ago. So you got a couple of assets, not many on that team, and I don't think you want them having off-season surgery and rehabs.
I asked you earlier, what do you do if you're running the Falcons? Well, what do you do if you're running the Colts? I mean, you went 8-2, now you're 0-6. Now, granted, the schedule got tougher during your 0-6, but you also lost your starting quarterback during your 0-6. So do you just re-rack it, re-sign Jones and go? Or did the schedule expose the roster? What do you do in Indy?
Well, the first thing is you re-sign the quarterback because he proved he can win a lot of games when he's healthy. And there are not many alternatives out there. So that's the first thing. And I think you've got more leverage on him right now. You might be able to get him done on a 3-year deal at $34 million, and then go get some assets in free agency and get some assets in the draft. I don't think the team's that bad, but we need the running back to be good. The offensive line needs more help. So I think they can get right back in the race with everybody else around there.
Be a very interesting second-round matchup if it were to come to fruition. The Patriots, who have as many wins against winning teams as the Giants do, not their fault, just happens to be how the schedule has played out. And then you have Jacksonville, who can just boast, I think, the biggest list of wins versus winning teams in the league, and many of them on the road. That would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it?
It would be, but I really clarify. I don't care about winning records. I care about playoff qualifiers, which is better than a winning record in most cases. Jacksonville's 5-3 against playoff qualifiers. So is Seattle, 5-3. The guy with the team with the most wins against playoff qualifiers are the Los Angeles Rams. Not only do they have 6 wins against playoff qualifiers, they also played 10 games this year. I love that Sean McVay's mad at him, going to make him play this week. But they had the most wins. But 5-3 is a very good record against big time teams, and they needed to prove they were that team, and they did it. So, again, we're still not talking about them because we kind of look at them and say, well, yeah, you keep proving to us that you're good. And that record against playoff qualifiers makes me really understand that you are good. I was really interested to see if Denver was going to play and lose the game to the Chargers, because that might have slid Denver all the way to the 3 seed. Jacksonville beat those guys.
Yeah, Jacksonville actually has the tiebreaker on both Denver and New England. They just probably won't get tied with either, so they'll be quote-unquote stuck as the 3 seed. Pat, really appreciate your friendship first, and obviously your contribution to this show for 20 years has been immeasurable. Safe travels. Happy New Year. Thanks for everything, pal.
Yep, my pleasure. Love being here. Have a good New Year yourself, and hope the travels go smoothly. Mine has not been going smoothly.
Yeah, I think we've all, I think, hit a travel mulligan here lately. Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today Show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Roy Cummings is next.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good Greek, moving and storage.
Year, but her.
How you holding up, Raj?
Pretty good, pretty good. Think everything's going okay except this weird audio stuff.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
So we're definitely going to need that starting five, right?
Yeah, Trent's sick. I don't even know if he's going to join us at this point.
Okay. It's ready.
Here's DocGo. More about your options. Check your eligibility.
Oh, wait a minute. Roy?
Yes.
All right, good deal.
Good timing. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. He normally joins us on Thursday. That's a holiday. We don't ask Roy to work on holidays. I mean, the salary is already so overwhelming that, or underwhelming, I really should say, that, to ask him to also work a holiday would be a bit much. He joins us once again, Bay News 9. He covers the Bucs for them, Miller and Moulton. Follow Roy Cummings on X at rcummingsfhcn, rcummingsfhcn. Mark is off today, Roy, so you've just got me. How are you?
I am good, and I would work the holiday for you. You know that.
Yeah, well, that's, you're used to not being paid well. So, what's another working holiday? You've worked about, 400 of them over the years. So, hey, before we go forward, is this franchise now suddenly at a teetering point? As this, you were there for the end with Gruden. Remember, they were 9-3. They were tied for the best record in the NFC. He had made the playoffs 3 times, twice in the last 3 years. And everything looked like the Bucs were, still a big time contender. They lost their last 4 games. They missed the playoffs. 3 weeks later, the organization gets blown up. All right. How big in the grand scheme, forget the 2025 season, how big in the grand scheme do you think this losing 6 out of 7 is going to be?
I think it's as impactful as any in franchise history. At least under Gruden, they were winning games. They're no longer winning games. They can't win a quarter, much less a game. This feels a lot like, although it's an expanded time frame, this feels a lot more to me like what happened under Raheem Morris, where everything started off pretty well. You know, he got the team going, everybody was behind him, they were winning some games, and then everything fell apart. And there was just no way to put it all back together again. It's like, you know, everything broke, and they couldn't find all the pieces to put it back together again to make it whole. That's what this feels like. And, I mean, you can go back in history and look at a lot of teams with the Buccaneers that were just dreadful. And that's what this team is right now. It's dreadful. And the thing that I think concerns the owners is that where's the hope coming from? You know, you've got, as I've been saying repeatedly, as good a running back room as you're going to have. Tremendous receiver options. A darn good quarterback. You seem to have some talent on defense. You got a pretty good kick returner. You can't make it work. You can't put it all together in one game and win that game. And when at a time when it's most critical to win a game against a team that is clearly not, at least according to the schedule or the record, not better than you, whether it's New Orleans, Miami, Atlanta, take your pick. So, or Carolina, which may be better than the Bucs. We'll see. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter now because the Bucs not only need to win, they need help from Raheem Morris. And I don't know that's or not from Raheem Morris, but from the Saints. I don't know that that's going to happen. This is an epic collapse, as ugly as I've ever seen, because it just doesn't seem like there's any way to put the pieces together again in order to make it work for a win.
Listen, you and I were Todd Bowles guys the last 3 years. We were defending him when people at 5-1 and 6-2 were still saying, I want a better coach. Todd Bowles may have spoken the truth, Roy, post-game, but Todd Bowles stood there and basically said, well, us coaches have done everything we can do. It's up to the players now. Okay? Now, and that may be 100% the truth. But, Roy, that's the type of thing that unless the players respond and agree with him, that's the type of thing that gets a staff replaced.
It is. It doesn't sound right. After the kind of collapse, I mean, everybody's got to take their share of the blame here. And you sort of get the feeling that maybe Todd Bowles isn't. And again, look, I was asked this a couple of weeks ago on another network. You know, where do you place the blame? Well, I place it on the players because I'm a player guy. I believe that it is on the players, that the coaches set them up and that because again, it was working early on when you didn't have Tristan Wirfs, when you didn't have Chris Godwin. It was working early on when you were, having to make it something. So I believe the coaches have done all they can, but still at a time like this, it sounded like, to me, that came off as just tremendous frustration. No better answer. Because what I didn't see Sunday was response in the first half. I saw it in the second half from the defense, but I didn't see it in the first half. And by then it was almost too late. So that's where I kind of look at this. And again, the Glazers, it's always a situation, as I've said many times, explained this many times, it's all about the pendulum. Which way is it swinging? Is it swinging up or is it swinging down? In moments like this, if it's not swinging significantly upward, they usually lean towards making a change. And I think they will. I think they will make a change this year. If they lose this last game badly or even win it and can't get into the playoffs, I think the opportunity is there to look somewhere else. But again, I've always said, before you fire a coach, you better know who you're going to get to replace him. And I don't know that they have that answer. And with Marcus Freeman going back to Notre Dame, to me, that's one really good option that is no longer on the table for him.
Well, Roy, they have not just fired coaches before. They've swept GMs who have accomplished things for them out also. I mean, they pushed Rich McKay aside for Gruden and his handpicked guy, Bruce Allen. They, who's the gentleman who hired Raheem Morris, was the longtime assistant. Who?
Mark Dominic.
Yeah, Mark Dominic, who I'll be honest, his 4 years versus the current GM's first 4 years, I think was no better than a push for the current GM. I think Arians and Brady saved the current GM. I mean, this 6 weeks, Roy, has us re-examining everything. How much of it is the coach? How much of it is the players? How much of it is, upon further review, this roster's just not good enough. Roy, even if they win the division for a fifth consecutive year, but fourth in a row under Bowles, okay, they will have not won more than 10 games in a season in any of the 4 division titles. 2 of the 4, they'll be below 500. I mean, from a record standpoint, Todd Bowles is basically a 500 coach, yet they go to the playoffs every year. I mean, it's the bottom of the playoff rung that you can be, if you know what I mean, in the weakest division in the league. I'm just wondering, if I'm the owner and I go tie one on and I have a bad day, I could fire everybody.
Yeah. I think Jason Light is safe. I see what you're saying. I totally agree. At this point, the roster just doesn't look as good as it did. But again, you have to take into consideration the fact that they've been picking in the bottom third of the first round, in the second, all the other rounds too, because of where they finished. In the last 3, 4, 5 years, it's been very tough. There's only maybe a dozen guys in the NFL who have double-digit sacks. The Bucs aren't the only team looking for an edge rusher, which is the thing that they're missing the most. I still think the feeling inside the building is that Jason Light has done a tremendous job building this team. Again, just look at the running back situation. Look at the talent they have at receiver.
Well, then, with all due respect, then give the ball to the running backs, okay? I mean, this is where if you're Todd Bowles, I know you're a defensive coach, but at some point you could say to the offensive coordinator, run the damn ball.
Yeah, well, they certainly tried last week, and then all of a sudden Bucky Irving just didn't have it. A bad day for him, but and maybe a good day for the Dolphins defense, which is really good, by the way. Let's not forget that. But look, and you have to take into consideration the fact that they are on their 3rd offensive coordinator. Most teams wouldn't survive the loss of a first one. They survived the loss of the first and the second, and here they are with their 3rd. So you figured at some point that's going to come and start hurting you. It's going to bite you, but. Again, it was working early on, and it should be working now. And I don't want to hear it about Baker Mayfield, guys. I don't want to hear it. The 25-10 touchdown passes and interceptions is right there with Josh Allen and Sam Darnold and every quarterback in the league that you would keep and think you're going to build your team around. He is not the problem. The problem is they can't do 2 things, David. They can't protect the quarterback, and they can't pressure the quarterback. That's what it comes down to with this team. Those are the basics, and that's it. And they also can't prevent big plays in the passing game or any more big plays in the running game. So the defense is the biggest problem. That's where Todd Bowles specializes. That's probably why he's going to be gone. I will now, at this point, even if they win the division, even if they somehow make it to the playoffs, I think he's got to win 2 games or more to save his job. I don't think another win somehow against the Eagles or whoever it might be in the playoffs would save Todd Bowles' job. I don't think that would happen. I think they're looking elsewhere, and I think they will look elsewhere.
the NFC South champion looks as if they're going to play the second place team from the NFC West, which figures to have a minimum of 12 wins and could even be a 13-win Seattle team if the Niners beat them coming up. All right. So the Bucs need to win on Saturday, and they need New Orleans to win their 5th in a row and beat Atlanta. If Atlanta wins, it's a 3-way tie. Carolina wins the 3-way tiebreaker. Roy, they've lost to Carolina, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Miami here. None of them with a winning record. Todd Bowles just admitted their special teams is so bad, we're instructing our kickers to kick it through the end zone and let them start at the 35 because we don't think we can do better than that. How the hell are they going to win this game?
I don't give them much of a chance. 2-point favorite at home. That suggests that Las Vegas thinks the better team is on the other side of the field, and I agree. I don't look. The team with the momentum right now is Carolina. The Bucs are just trying to save themselves from the what might be the most ultimate embarrassment in franchise history. Certainly one of them. And again, it's an epic collapse. And I don't, the way they played last week gives me no reason to believe that they can beat a team that's better than the Dolphins, in my opinion, in Carolina. They should know what's coming from Dave Canales, but they didn't seem to know in Carolina.
Here's what concerns me. Bowles has said, listen, coaches have done all they can do. It's up to the players. Well, apparently the two guys who talk to the players constantly is Levante David and Mike Evans. And if you listen to some of the quotes coming out of the locker room, it almost sounds like the team has heard everything that they could possibly hear. And not that they're tuning Levante and Evans out, but that they ain't inspired by anybody in the room anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I that's what and it comes across on the field. Where is the inspiration? Where's the sense of desperation? I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere. I see it in Baker Mayfield, who's still running for his life half the time, but I don't see it really anywhere else. And that comes down to leadership. And unfortunately, the leadership in this, for whatever reason, the message is not getting through. If it's being heard, it's certainly not getting through and making the impact that it's supposed to make. Todd Bowles has tried a couple of different approaches. He's tried being, a hard ass. Forgive me for the phrase, but he's tried being Todd Bowles, stoic. None of it's working. And that's another reason why I think that no matter what happens here, they're probably looking at a change.
Roy Cummings, who has seen just about every rendition of the Bucs that you could see, but he's also now witnessing one that has lost 7 of 8 and could finish losing 8 of 9, and that would be up there. Roy joins us every week. Roy, thanks so much. Happy New Year to you and your family. Enjoy Saturday, and we'll talk again when either we're planning an off-season hell. By the time we talk again, a bunch of people may have gotten fired, or they're prepping for another home playoff game. Who knows?
Yeah, it's flip the coin.
Roy, thanks for making time for us and rearranging your schedule. Happy New Year.
Anytime for you guys. Happy New Year.
Roy Cummings, R. Cummings FHCN is how you can follow him on X, Bay News 9 and Miller and Moulton, covering the Bucs for us. Roy Cummings once again. Listen, he's Mr. Glass Half Full about the Bucs and has been for 20 years. And he's saying that I don't think they're going to win. And even if by chance they do, I think Bowles has to win 2 playoff games to save his job. And he's been a Todd Bowles guy also. You can hear it with Roy Cummings that he has all but given up on the 2025 rendition of the Tampa Bay Bucs. Miller and Moulton. Thanks to Bud Elliott, Pat Kirwan, and Roy Cummings for joining us. The bonus hour of Miller and Moulton is coming up.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Football season is back and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
I love the week after Christmas. The energy just feels right.
The rush is over. The new year is coming. Maybe it's time to treat yourself.
Jason and I are in the store every day, ready to make a deal with you.
Overstocks up to 50% off. Maybe you got Christmas money. Maybe not exactly what you hoped for.
Or maybe a new year proposal is in your heart.
New year, new you. Do it at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
This is Miller and Moulton.
About 30 seconds. Oh, I'm sorry. Minute 30. My bad.
Raj, thanks for everything.
No problem. Always my pleasure.
We're glad you're back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Mark is off today, the final live hour of Miller and Moulton in 2025. Best of New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Miller and Moulton back in full for a Football Friday, the 1st of 2026, this coming Friday. Raj, keeping the train on the tracks back in our Southwest Florida studios. I'm in Atlanta, headed to El Paso before noon for the Sun Bowl. Gary Danielson's last broadcast after a 36-year network broadcasting career in which he has been really the number one or co-number one analyst for two networks for that entire length of time. I mean, ABC had kind of a trifecta going on there. They had three crews. They had Keith Jackson with Greasy. They had Nestler with Danielson. They had Musburger. Actually, Musburger was with Greasy. Jackson was with Fouts. Okay, they did that for a while. Then they rotated who the analysts were. Gary went from Nestler to Musburger, and they switched them all around. Fouts changed networks, went to the NFL, etc. And then Gary, for the last 20 years at CBS as their number one analyst, 18 of those 20 covering the SEC. He will call it a career with the Sun Bowl tomorrow. And since we started together, we might as well, at CBS, we might as well finish together. And then I'll head to San Francisco. ABC is the doubleheader on Saturday. Carolina, Tampa Bay at 4:30. Buck and Aikman with the 8 o'clock Eastern Seahawks Niners call, which will determine the NFC West champion and the number one seed in the NFC. Trent Balley was scheduled to join us. He's under the weather. And I mean, like really sick today. So all our best to Trent and his family, and an early happy New Year. We will, next segment, we'll move things around a little bit. We'll get in a couple of sponsored segments, good, bad, and ugly, what's on tap. Today was the day when, that kind of thing. But in looking back and looking ahead, I'm going to mention it briefly next segment. But Tiger Woods is 50. Today's his birthday. LeBron and Tiger have the same birthday, December 30th. Tiger Woods is 50. With the way his playing career has seemingly coming to an end, if he can play going forward, if he's going to play largely ceremonial golf, because I know many of us are big fans of Tiger, but I mean, come on, we have to admit, Tiger's not seriously contending to win anything of substance on the PGA Tour again. We don't even know if Tiger will physically be able to compete on the PGA Tour ever again. But obviously on the Champions Tour, they allow carts. So maybe if he can still swing a club, and as he has said, hey, I still have my hands. I can still chip and putt. But if he's largely going to play ceremonial golf, don't you want to see him play it on the Champions Tour? I mean, come on. He'll struggle to make cuts. Probably won't be able to make cuts on the PGA Tour. I mean, we've already seen him struggle to walk Augusta and make the cut barely, miss the cut. I mean, I have to admit, if I see Tiger again on a golf course, I'd like to see him on the first page of the leaderboard. And if he's physically able to swing the club, I mean, I don't know. I guess to me, I hate to make this analogy, but isn't it kind of like I can't compete at the FBS level anymore, but I think I could compete at the FCS level? I mean, I have no problem if Tiger just goes, too many injuries, one too many car accidents. Sorry, I'm done. Hey, thank you. You gave us the second greatest career, arguably, of all time, and the greatest, arguably, in the ESPN era, because Nicholas had accomplished most of what he had accomplished before ESPN came around, although he did win, I believe, 3 of his majors after ESPN came into business. But if we're going to see him again, there's a part of me that's like, because let's be honest, if Tiger were to play a Champions Tour event and you might originally go, I ain't interested, and then all of a sudden word gets out that he's in contention, tell me you're not going to find that tournament. Whatever network that Champions Tour event's on, CNBC, the Golf Channel, wherever it's hidden, you'll find it. It's Tiger. He's playing golf. He's on the first page of the leaderboard. He's wearing the red golf shirt. You'll find him. But whether you call them athletes, sportsmen, however you think of them, entertainers, Tiger Woods and LeBron James both celebrating birthdays today, and we don't know how much more we're going to see from either. Listen, LeBron's got a huge ego. We all know that, whether you like him or not. And I happen to be a fan. But he's got a huge ego. And those around him have always said LeBron's just not going to go quietly into the good night. Well, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards I think he is going to go quietly into the good night. I mean, who after this year is going to want him, in all seriousness? I mean, he's only going to want to go somewhere where he could help him win a championship. At this stage of the game, what does he bring to the table to get a team over the top? I mean, he's still a productive player. He's still a good player. Offensively, defensively, he's a cone. He's a statue. He's a cardboard cutout. Find your proper analogy. I mean, he's a problem. And so is there a team that needs, basically an older version of Magic Johnson? LeBron, the passer, and the secondary scorer? I mean, I think it's a tough fit. Maybe he goes back to Cleveland for a third time. This Cavs season seems to not be working out. Who knows? Maybe he could help them. But this seems to me like this is the quiet end. They'll put them on the all-star team, kind of like they do in baseball, where they give, the Ripkins of the world their final year. They'll put them in the all-star game. I think the NBA will find a way to get them in the all-star game. But, this is one of the greatest careers we've ever seen. He's 41 today. It seems like we're seeing him for the final times. And we may have already seen Tiger for the final time. But for all those years, Tiger said he would never play Champions Tour golf. What if physically he can't play PGA Tour golf, but he can play Champions Tour golf? What does he do? And do you want to see him, even if it's at that level? I loved watching Arnie and Jack and Lee play on the Champions Tour. I just wanted to see him play. I did. I loved them. It was great seeing them. They'd be all over the first page or so of the leaderboard. Loved it. So, thinking about LeBron and Tiger today, a little selfishly, as a sports fan, but they share the same birthday. Tiger is 50. Where did the time go, right? And LeBron is 41. Remember the Sports Illustrated cover? King James, he was still in high school. So just wanted to mention that. We'll get to some other birthdays and what have you coming up in our remaining segment. But a couple of famous birthdays today and a couple of guys who one may be done already. And the biggest contribution he makes to the game going forward is what the PGA Tour is going to look like going forward. And the other is all but done. He's already having to face his first time in his career outside of an early Olympic team that he was on. Really, first time in his career, he's not the best player on a team that he's on, that he's having to play a secondary role. That's already where LeBron is. And you figure that's probably going to be his role going forward if he wants to continue beyond this year. And it won't be in Los Angeles. They've all but made that clear. They'll take that money and that salary space and they'll move on. So, a couple legendary players. Some people think LeBron's the best. I don't, never have. Some people think Tiger was the best. I never have. I've said he's got a 12-year window, 97 through 08, which is better than anyone has ever played. Going back to Bobby Jones, Jack. 1997 through 2008, no one has ever played golf at a higher level than Tiger Woods, male or female. But all time, I think Nicklaus has him in every stat but career PGA Tour wins. I think Tiger's second. Not a bad place to be. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. It normally comes up in 25 minutes. We will jam it in next for reasons that will become self-explanatory. Miller and Moulton. Mark will be back on Friday. Best of shows the next 2 days. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best product with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local glass doctor home and business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Heard of the job? Dial pound 529 on your cell. Pound law.
About a minute.
Hey, Raj, thank you. Raj, thanks for everything.
No problem. My pleasure. Anytime you guys need me.
ESPN's Florida, you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Mark off today. He'll be back on Friday. Best of Miller and Moulton tomorrow, New Year's Eve, and the day after New Year's Day. I'm heading to El Paso for the Sun Bowl, then San Francisco for Saturday night's Seahawks-Niners game. So it'll be a 2:20 a.m. wake-up call and 3 a.m. show screaming debut when we rejoin you for our first live show of 2026 on Friday. Mark usually does, obviously, Good, Bad, and Ugly, What's on Tap. Today was the day when, and normally we save it for the final segment. But I'm going to fit at least a couple of those ventures in right now. For the Good, Bad, and Ugly, for the good, we go to Binghamton, New York. And, well,
time to see life a little bit differently.
Whoa!
It's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you
We
got,
had
Mark?
to, well,
sorry about that.
No. I believe it or not, I've never done the Good, Bad, and Ugly. And today was the day when Mark's been out. We've just not done them. But since they are sponsored by the Cape Coral Police Department, Mark said, hey, could you put something together? Yeah, sure. For capecops.com, capecops.com? Absolutely. We go to Binghamton, New York, where they rescued a squirrel. I mean, I've heard of rescuing pets before, but this isn't really a pet. It was a squirrel. It was stuck in a drainage hole on the side of a dumpster. And so the firefighters, somebody felt badly for the squirrel, and they went in and rescued the squirrel. Huh. Okay, I'll tell you what. Glad the squirrel didn't, you corner a squirrel, they can act like a rat. I mean, they can come right at you, but, everything went okay. For the bad, we go to Vermont, where a preteen went on a joyride. I have to admit, though, I love where he went on the joyride too. In Putney, Vermont, a 9-year-old went to Santa's Land the day after Christmas. He wanted to go to the small amusement park in southern Vermont. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and no one's going to face any charges. I guess no harm, no foul. Let me tell you, I might not have faced charges, but if I had done that, my mother, she would have looked at the cops and said, yeah, there's really no reason for you guys to continue to stay here. I will take it from here. I might still be grounded, and I just turned 60. And finally, the ugly, we go to San Carlos Park, where a man is accused of misusing 911. Deputies say he just called it too many times. he kept calling them on Christmas. And he kept saying, yeah, in the establishment next to my house, there's underage drinking going on. And you need to come arrest people. So they came by the first time. There was no underage drinking going on. They came by a second time to Seagrass Sports Grill off of 41 in San Carlos Park. There wasn't underage drinking going on the second time either. So he called them again and again and again. And finally they came over a third time. And sure enough, there was no underage drinking going on then. But you know who was drinking? Okay, 41-year-old Kevin Samuelson. He was hooked on phonics. And
That's somebody that needed someone to talk to on Christmas. I think.
I think so. You really are encouraged, however, to not have it be a 911 operator.
Correct.
Find someone else. Okay. So eventually they had to say to Mr. Samuelson, listen, you wasted our time one too many times, and we've got to cite you for it. So that's a very tame, good, bad, and ugly. Brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Listen, they're offering a $10,000 signing bonus, and their beginning salaries are between $74,000 and $90,000. So, based on your experience, you could be making $100,000. I don't know. That seems like pretty good pay. Holidays, plenty of opportunities to work overtime and other shifts. Go to capecops.com. Look into it. Maybe a career change. 2026. Cape Coral Police Department at capecops.com.
So there is an intro for Today Was the Day when, right?
I think there is.
Well, let's try it, shall we? Maybe it's just music.
And we were doing...
Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Well, his counterpart will give it a try. Rasputin got killed today in Russia in 1916. Okay? A self-proclaimed holy man. They've never been big fans of that over there. They really haven't. It's considered one of the very first, if not the first, strikes in the United States. It was by the General Motors auto workers in Flint, Michigan today in 1936. They were striking so that GM would respect their recognition of the UAW, the United Auto Workers Group, as their bargaining agent going forward. Eventually, GM respected the workers joining the UAW. It was on this day in 1962 that the Packers, for the second year in a row, beat the Giants for the NFL championship. They blew them out at Lambeau in 1961. Today in 1962, Ray Nitschke was the MVP when they beat the Giants 16-7. It was the last home playoff game for the Giants for 23 years. Today in 1962. They didn't host another playoff game until 1985. Congress today in 1963 authorized the Kennedy $50 in honor of the fallen president. Today in 1967, the Beatles' Hello, Goodbye becomes their 15th number one single. Sinatra records My Way today in 1968. How about that? Dolphins beat the Raiders today at the Orange Bowl in 1973 to advance to Super Bowl VIII, where they would play the Vikings, who beat the Cowboys today. And obviously we know what Miami did to Minnesota in Super Bowl VIII. Woody Hayes fired today in 1978. The night before at the Gator Bowl, he had slugged Bauman, the Clemson linebacker, in the throat after the game-sealing interception. Ohio State fired Woody today in 1978. Gretzky, 5 goals and an assist today in 1981 against the Flyers. He became the fastest to score 50 goals in a season. He did it in 39 games. Born on this day, Rudyard Kipling, Burt Parks, Bo Diddley, Davy Jones. Sandy Koufax is 90 today. We already mentioned that Tiger is 50 today and LeBron is 41. Happy birthday to Kerry Collins, AJ Brzezinski, Kenyon Martin, Layla Ali, and Mel Rempro is 84 today. Patti Smith is 79 today, from Because the Night. And there you have it. Today was the day when, along with the good, bad, and ugly. Mark will be back to do a much better job with those two segments on Friday. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Lease a nearly new 2025 Mercedes-Benz GLB 250 for $338 per month for 36 months. Available now for immediate delivery. The GLB 250 from Mercedes-Benz of Naples and Mercedes-Benz of Bonita Springs is praised for its practicality, premium feel, and its versatile interior. The GLB 250 from Mercedes-Benz of Naples and Mercedes-Benz of Bonita Springs is the ultimate in luxury compact SUVs. Offers with proof credit, $7,500 annual loss for 36 months. Tax pay, title excluded. Down payment, $1095 acquisition fee, and first month's payment due assignment. Expires 12/31/2025.
Good Greek moving and storage. The superhero movers.
What's the Anajar Levine difference? When you're injured in a car crash, we focus on your case so you can focus on the one thing that matters most, getting better. I'm Glenn Levine with Anajar Levine. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Is foot pain keeping you from living the life you love? Hi, it's Phoebe with the Good Feet Store. Life is too short to be living with foot, knee, hip, or back pain. When all four arches in your feet are supported, the results can be amazing. Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Ring in the new year with a new ring at International Diamond Center. Here's exciting news. Now through New Year's Eve, you can still get that stunning piece of jewelry and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 down and 0 interest. Virtually everything's included. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, all the gifts women love every day of every year. But hurry, this amazingly popular offer ends New Year's Eve and will not be extended. Come in now and get her that $6,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $100 a month, or that $3,000 diamond eternity band for just $50 a month. And if you're planning that New Year's proposal, we've got you covered with a great selection of ready-to-wear diamond rings, starting as low as $800. Say goodbye to 2025 and start off the new year with the ultimate and timeless symbol of love, a diamond from International Diamond Center. Get finance offer details, store hours, and locations at shopidc.com. Unapproved credit.
During the Rev Up the Year sales event at King Coral, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Finish 25 with 25% off select 2025 Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. Get up to $15,000 in savings. Time is running out. KingCoralCDJR.com.
I'd be losing my mind if that tree hit my house.
I did, for about 2 minutes. Then I called my Chapman.
Your what?
Chapman Insurance Group. They talked me through everything.
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Chapman.
Pretty sure it's pronounced handled. Who's your Chapman?
Chapman Insurance Group. Insurance that does.
Visit ChapmanReset.com.
Farmers and ranchers, when it's time to buy or sell ag equipment, think Purple Wave Auction. We're your go-to online marketplace for tractors, combines, sprayers, and more. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Experience the Purple Wave difference. Nationwide reach with a local touch. Purple Wave Auction. Whether you're expanding your operation or streamlining your fleet, we've got you covered. Visit purplewave.com today. Fuel your farm with Purple Wave Auction.
Get ready, golf fans. The PGA Tour Champions returns to Naples with the Chubb Classic presented by ServPro as it takes over Tiburon Golf Club February 12th through the 15th. Join us for a week packed with excitement as legends of the game, including defending champion Justin Leonard and 5-time champion Bernard Langer, compete for glory. Choose from daily grounds passes starting at just $20 or enjoy the Allegro Group Florida Oasis 18th Green Hospitality with complimentary food and drinks. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at chubbclassic.com and be part of the action.
The Florida Everblades are back on the ice.
Shoots, pick it up, score!
And ESPN Southwest Florida is your home for the action all season long. Log on to ESPNSWFL.com for a schedule of games we'll be airing.
Holy moly, what a goalie!
We are your home for Florida Everblades hockey. ESPN Southwest Florida and streaming on the ESPN Southwest Florida app.
The glove of the chance for the empty net. Bullseye!
Did you miss part of Craig Sheeman and Company? Download the Craig Sheeman and Company podcast and catch up on the latest interviews, hot takes, and Craig being right.
Somebody has messed with my master clock in here.
It's Craig Sheeman, Chris, and you. Available now on ESPNSWFL.com, the ESPN Southwest Florida app, or anywhere.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Bud Elliott in and out. We'll preview the college football quarterfinals, which begin tomorrow night, the Cotton Bowl. Miami, a nearly 10-point underdog against Ohio State. And then the 3 quarterfinals on New Year's Day. Noon, 4, and 8 Eastern. Oregon, Texas Tech at noon in the Orange Bowl. Alabama and Indiana in the Rose Bowl. And then an SEC rematch in the Sugar, Ole Miss and Georgia. Bud Elliott to talk all about it coming up 1 hour from now. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
Look at that. Raj found the bumper, and I found the banner for the Twitch and YouTube broadcast. We are cooking with some serious heat this morning, folks. The starting five brought to you by Lee County. Lee County, Florida, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. All right, NFL last night. Falcons jumped out to a 21-0 halftime lead, led 24-3 mid-third quarter. And here come the Rams. Flipped the game around down 14 with a blocked field goal returned for a touchdown. Stafford and the Rams tied it with about 3 minutes to go. Stafford had a rough day, though. He did throw 2 TDs, but he also had 3 interceptions, came into the game having only thrown 5 all year. But then Kirk Cousins and the Falcons drove 32 yards, setting up a 51-yard field goal with 21 seconds left to win it. Bijan Robinson was a star. 195 yards rushing, 229 total yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 receiving. If you had either Derrick Henry or Bijan Robinson on your fantasy team this week, you likely won your fantasy league. Falcons win their 3rd in a row, 27-24 over the Rams. Could drop the Rams from the 5 seed to the 6 seed, depending on the results this coming weekend. Falcons also could determine who wins the NFC South. If Atlanta beats the Saints Sunday, the Panthers are the NFC South champions, no matter if they lose to Tampa Saturday. The Bucs need to beat the Panthers and have the Saints, who have won 4 in a row, beat the Falcons, who have won 3 in a row, to end the season. Other NFL news, as we mentioned last segment, Chargers have decided to rest Justin Herbert in the season finale. Remember, the Chiefs did that last year in Denver when they were 15-1. They threw Carson Wentz out there. They got destroyed. Denver said, thank you very much. We're going to the playoffs. Well, Herbert and the Chargers are going to send Trey Lance out on the field. Likely means Denver will win, clinch the 1 seed, and get the bye. Lamar Jackson's status is, quote, still to be determined, unquote, Sunday night at Pittsburgh. Jackson has battled injuries all year, as we know. He missed the Saturday night Ravens win in Green Bay when Derrick Henry ran for 200+ and 4 touchdowns. 67-year-old Andy Reid reiterated it's his plan to coach next season in Kansas City. Anybody think they're going to fire him? Yeah, I didn't think so. Chiefs, for what it's worth, end the year in Vegas. Vegas needs a loss to clinch the number 1 overall pick. Reid has 3 years left on a contract that pays him $20 million a year. He's wrapping up his 13th year in Kansas City. That's after he did 14 years in Philadelphia. One of the greatest coaching careers in NFL history will continue for at least another year, and that's Andy Reid. College football, no bowl games last night. 3 of them today and tonight. Independence Bowl at 2 o'clock Eastern, Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Tech. 5:30 Eastern, Music City Bowl, Goodland, Tennessee, Illinois. And the Alamo Bowl, 9 p.m. tonight Eastern, USC and TCU. Speaking of USC, their head coach Lincoln Riley at the presser yesterday said, quote, if Notre Dame had lived up to their word, that they'd play us anywhere, anytime, we'd be playing the next 2 years, unquote. Speaking of Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman said no to the NFL yesterday. I'm staying with the Fighting Irish. 11 games in the NBA. The headliner in Miami, the Heat pounded the Nuggets 147-123, but the big story, the big fella, Jokic got hurt late first half, left knee injury, limped off the court, not to return. Please, let's hope he's okay. Please. Too great a player to miss significant time for us as fans. Come on now. Let's hope the big fella's all right. Heat get the win. Magic blow a 21-point lead, losing Toronto 107-106 to the Raptors. Knicks with a late rally in New Orleans, and despite Zion's 32, New York beat the Pelicans 130-125. Steph with 27, Jimmy Buckets with 21. Golden State won in Brooklyn 120-107. Hawks have lost 7 in a row. SGA with 39. OKC beat Atlanta 140-129. 7 in double figures for the Cavs. They went to San Antonio, beat Wemby and the Spurs 113-101. Wembanyama was the best player on the floor, however, 27 points, 14 rebounds. Milwaukee won back-to-back games for the first time in 2 months. They went to Charlotte, beat the Hornets 123-113. Phoenix has won 4 in a row. They beat Utah 115-101. Excuse me, I think they beat Washington. That's how bad my handwriting is. Think about that. When you think an S is a T, that's some bad handwriting right there. Naz Reid with 33 off the bench. T-Wolves beat the Bulls in Chicago by 35. Ouch. KD with 30. Rockets beat the Pacers 126-119. Portland edged Dallas 125-122. Also 11 games in the NHL last night. Panthers with 3 in the third. Sam Reinhart with a pair. Florida beat Washington 5-3. The Colorado Avalanche have played 38 games this year. They're almost midway through their schedule. They've lost 2 games in regulation. That's unbelievable. They're 29-2-7. They beat the LA Kings 5-2 last night. The Buffalo Sabres have won 9 in a row. What in the wide world of sports is going on here? Buffalo 4-2 over St. Louis. Edmonton 3-1 over Winnipeg. Rangers blow another third period lead. Carolina with 13 seconds left in overtime scores and beats New York 3-2. Columbus 4-1 over Ottawa. The Stammers heating up. Steven Stamkos, a pair of goals in the third period to lead Nashville, who's back to 500. They got off to an awful start this year, did the Preds. They're back to 500 with a 4-3 win in Utah. Stamkos, by the way, 599 career goals for the 35-year-old. Calgary beat Boston 2-1 in overtime. Wild jumped out to a 5-0 lead in Vegas, 1-5-2. San Jose, their young star Celebrini, a goal and 2 assists. He's got 60 points in 39 games. Sharks 5-4 over Anaheim. Vancouver 3-2 in a shutout over Seattle. By the way, World Juniors, there's 2 unbeaten teams, Sweden and the U.S. The U.S. beat Slovakia yesterday 6-5. They have a showdown with Sweden. We're not to the elimination round yet. After Wednesday, we will be. But a showdown with Sweden to determine who wins the group and who finishes second tomorrow. College basketball. 13 ranked teams in action, all of them at home, all of them winners, including number 1 Arizona, number 2 Michigan, number 3 Iowa State, and number 11 Vandy. I highlighted those 4 because those are 4 of the 6 remaining unbeaten teams in men's college basketball. 22nd ranked Gators beat Dartmouth 94-72. 14th ranked Bama 102-78 over Yale. Auburn beat Queens by 41, and South Florida won at home by 60. Women's hoops, FGCU is 4-7 heading into 2026. They've gone 2 years at times without losing 7 games. FGCU lost at home to Columbia 63-44. Women's action, UConn, Texas, South Carolina, UCLA, LSU, and Michigan, your top 6. So think about that. Michigan's number 2 in men's hoops and number 6 in women's. By the way, Nebraska is unbeaten in men's college basketball. They're also unbeaten in women's college basketball. How about that? The Huskers, men and women, are going to be unbeaten heading into 2026. That's remarkable. And one final note, if you remember at the end of the NASCAR season, Denny Hamlin desperately wanted to win the championship for his dad, who he said doesn't have long to live. Well, his dad died yesterday, but he didn't die of natural causes. He died in a house fire in which Denny Hamlin's mom is also in critical condition. Authorities are investigating what the heck happened in the house. And at 10 minutes before the